How late did that hockey game go last night, the college one?
Pretty late.
Pretty late. I fell asleep first overtime. And thank God I did, because it was first overtime didn't start until 11:30-ish.
Well, the game started 15 minutes late. Yeah, top two seeds got beat. Although Denver's what, 5th in the country? Man.
Wait a minute. New. Look at this.
That's right. Michigan State hockey team has to feel even more sick now that Wisconsin's skating for the title.
I like when you say greetings from somewhere, pleasant journeys, and I have to look up where it is. I always enjoy that. In India. Okay. Well, good. Look at that. It's the 13th most populous state in India.
Yeah. What an awful way to lose. So, Coffin Ball, you're saying Amazon?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this Friday. Hope your week's gone well. Thanks for spending time with us at the end of it. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How's it going?
It's going well. It's going well. Big day today. I'm excited today. I mean, just a little procedure being done. I've had this central line in my chest. It has 3 dangly things off of it, and it's been attached to me since late January, and it comes out today. So I'm pretty fired up. It is way better than the food I don't get to eat until after it. So I'll be in a good mood because I know when this is done, I can take a shower basically without having to put saran wrap on myself. Very excited, David.
Yes. Been there. Yes. All right. Well, good for you. Good for you. And the days, they are dwindling. Less than a month for sure at Hope House. Can't believe we're counting down the days. What a journey it has been.
No doubt.
Miller and Moulton on this Friday. So I had to laugh. I didn't watch any of the Masters on Amazon from 1 to 3. And I'll be honest, I don't even know if we have Prime. So that might be something I may even today just find out whether or not it works or not. So, because I don't watch Thursday Night Football. But I saw a post on X right when I was about to start watching golf on the 4-letter network. And the first post that I saw about what had gone on all day was that Right now, Fred Couples is beating everyone from Liv in the Masters. And I just laughed. And I said, well, that can't bode well for Rahm and DeChambeau, can it?
You know, David, one of the segments that if we were to steal, and it's too obvious, so we can't steal it, but we like it. We're a fan of this guy. We know not all of you are, and I haven't listened to him literally. It's probably been a year since I've listened to the show, if not longer. But we like Colin Cowherd because he used to do our show. He was very good to us in his days at the Four Letter Network. And he does a little thing where Colin was right, where Colin was wrong.
Correct.
Well, yesterday we had a poll question on the show, and it was, do you want to take the top 3 tour guys, or do you want to take essentially the live guys? And I put the live guys on there because, well, Reed's not too far removed from live golf. So it was Bryson, Patrick Reed, John Rahm, or Scheffler, McIlroy, and Schauffele. And not only was it where Miller and Moulton were extremely wrong, it's where most of you were too, because the votes on the poll question, the live votes were more than the tour guys' votes. And let's see, David, how did that? I mean, just for day one. Now, I know there's a lot of golf to be played, but right now, Rahm and DeChambeau are going to have to play their tails off to be around on the weekend.
Right. They're 10 over combined.
Right.
The one guy, Rahm, didn't make a birdie all day. Not one. 4 par 5s. Didn't make a birdie. Hell of a day.
And DeChambeau on the 11th hole looked like a rank amateur taking 3 to get out of a bunker.
Right.
I mean, that was essentially his downfall.
Yep.
So, yes, Patrick Reed played well. He's right in this thing.
Thank goodness. Yes. So the non-PGA Tour guys are 7 over. The PGA Tour guys are 9 under.
That's correct.
So a 16-stroke whooping. Day one at Augusta. Hello.
But Rory was terrific. Patrick Reed was really good up until the end. He faltered a little bit coming down the stretch. Jason Day had a nice day. And then there's a bunch of guys that I think we like all. I mean, I think the group at 2 under's a very likable group. I don't think they're disliked. Schauffele and Scheffler and Rose again.
Yep.
And
Even though he
Shane
faltered.
Lowry.
And that's with Rose finishing bogey.
Yep.
And he's still on the first page.
So it's interesting. You know, we were talking yesterday, David, what score could you get away with day one?
Yep.
And we thought 74 maybe, but probably 73. That, you know, 1 over, you're still in this thing. And I think that's the number. I mean, sure, a guy that's 2 over can get there, but if the wind picks up, this course will get harder. The greens will get firmer. And I don't know, you know, the great thing about Augusta is even when it's tough, a guy or 2 can go 64. The course it's the way it's set up. It rewards greatness. It's why I think most of us love it.
Oberg 2 over. It's about as far down as I think I'll go. In terms, because remember, Rory went 66 last year on Friday, Saturday. All right. Rory did not have a good round 1. Now, he's only the 3rd golfer in the last 21 Masters to not be in the top 10 after the first round and win it. In fact, if you take Tiger in 2005 out, he was only the 2nd golfer to win at Augusta in the last 20 years who wasn't in the top 10 after the first round. So the top 10, I believe, is all those guys at, trying to think, are there 9 guys 1 under or better?
9 guys 2 under or better. 1 under is T10.
Yeah, okay. So all the 1 unders count. So you got 16 guys who fit the statistic because you got 7 guys at 1 under. So 16 golfers. Essentially, Masters history is saying, take a look at the 16 guys that are under par. One of them's going to win. Everyone else, thanks for playing. And there's some big names that even. But history says, appreciate you coming. You're not putting on the jacket. We'll see.
I have to admit, there's been a lot of times over the years that Rory's gotten on my nerves, and I've talked about it on this show. There are certain times he just flat out wins me over. He's doing the post-match interview on ESPN yesterday with Scott Van Pelt, and they're talking, and he asked him kind of about winning in the Champions Dinner and last year, and he said, it was great. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to go up there right now, put my green jacket on, have a drink, and then head home for the day. I'm like, I'll be damned. Attaway, Rory. You want to win this guy over? Tell me you're going to put the green jacket on, have a cocktail, and call it a night.
The only place where you're allowed to wear it. So, absolutely. That's awesome.
So, Rahm stunk up the joint. Bryson stunk up the joint.
Right.
Hovland stunk up the joint. Some good players did not bode well in day one yesterday.
I found myself, and I don't think I've ever done this before, and I know it's a sign of age. I know that because I was a club thrower. I was a guy who cursed on the course. Now, not super loud, but to myself, and I had a temper when I played.
No,
I know you find that shocking.
No, really?
Yes, I'm telling you.
Shocked, almost appalled.
There was a time when playing with me, my grandfather was appalled and didn't play with me for 2 years because of my behavior on the course in front of some of his friends. And I found myself watching Robert McIntyre thinking, somebody needs to pull him aside. Somebody needs to grab his arm and say, dude, all right, this ain't Friday at the Valspar, okay, where you're going to miss the cut. This is Augusta, and you're acting like a petulant child, okay? Get it together now. Yeah, you're playing badly. Yes, you put 2 balls in the water on 15 and then missed up a chip and you got a 9. Yeah, Freddie Couples got a 9 on 15 and after the round talked about how much fun he had. Get it together.
I think that's an unfair comparison for McIntyre of a guy that's 100 years old who's just enjoying himself out there. I mean, it is a little different.
I understand, but it's true. But the fact is, he damn came close to throwing clubs. Okay, come on now. This ain't a tour event.
He shot 80.
I understand.
Okay, and he thought like some others thought, not me. I told you I was looking at him all week, and I said he doesn't play well here. Love his game coming into the tournament, but he doesn't play well here. He proved me right. He didn't play well. In fact, he played lousy.
Well, found myself sitting on the couch going, man, I know I'm aging as I'm watching this round, but somebody needs to grab a hold of him and say, you need to get it together and look around and realize where you are. They threw out an Open champion because he had a phone. He wasn't even using it. And they threw him off the grounds. This is being televised.
We follow the rules at Augusta.
Yes. So don't
use your phone. I mean, that's
right. That was my Eastwood on the porch moment of yesterday while watching.
Did feel badly about one of the old guys because for the longest time, an old guy was up at the top of the leaderboard. Jose Maria Olazabal had a terrific day and then floundered down the stretch 14, 15, 16. He went bogey, double bogey, ended up going 2 over for the day. But that was my favorite story up until that point. But other things happened in the sports world. Oh, Tampa Bay, what's going on?
Whoa.
That's 3 in a row, albeit to some good teams. But last night, La Habitants proving why they are the hottest team in the game right now, and they beat the Tampa Bay Lightning. So we talked about Tampa having first overall in the East. Hell, David, they may not have home ice in the first round.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Oh, yeah, it is bad golfer. I think he should be fired. I mean, the fact that they didn't want to give up, he kept a guy who I like, Evison, to not get Quinn Hughes earlier in the year turns out to be a horrible move. They're not going to make the playoffs after the deal they did. They didn't protect their first round pick that he sent. So somehow, if Detroit wins the lottery or gets a good pick in the lottery, they don't get it. St. Louis does. They're slow, they're soft, and they're playing hard with 4 games left. I mean, they got to go 4-0 and Ottawa would have to go, I think, 2-2, and Ottawa already won their first game. So now there's 3 left. Detroit's got to, thank you. Detroit's got to go undefeated the rest of the way, if I've got this right. Let me pull the standings up so I don't make mistakes. So they can get to 97. Yeah, Ottawa needs to win 2 games out of their last 3 if Detroit goes 3-0. And how can you think they're going to? They're not good. And the fact that they played hard and won last night, to me, is even more embarrassing. 4 games left, and now you play hard? F you. Larkin doing the fire the crowd up. Shut up. You've choked. Trade him, too. Apparently, a big poll. They had who should go. They had like the 4 best Red Wings. Who would you get rid of? They had Sider, Raymond, DeBrincat, and Larkin in a poll. Yeah, Larkin got over 50% of the poll.
Why is that?
Because he's the captain and they're looking to blame. I mean, if you're not going to blame Yzerman and you're not going to blame the coach, and they've been soft and they've been getting off to bad starts, he's the leader. He was great last night. I mean, it's a damn near meaningless game, but we could get Buffalo. I mean, we realistically could get Buffalo, Tampa in the first round. I don't think we will. But the only playoff team Montreal has left are the Flyers. Now, the other 2 are in the race, Columbus and the Islanders. But Buffalo finishes with the Stars. That's a scheduling quirk.
Who will have nothing to play for and will play no one.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour on this Friday. Thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Well, you mentioned it right as we were going to break. What a week it's been for the Tampa Bay Lightning. 3 tough opponents in a 4-day span. L. And you go from controlling whether or not you're going to finish with the best overall record in the conference to, yeah, you're in 3rd place in your division, and right now you're going to start the playoffs on the road. That's a hell of a week.
It really is. Now, they play 2 of their last 3 at home. The only playoff team they play is their next game. It's on the road at Boston. Boston's pretty much locked in to the top wild card spot. Not that they won't play hard. I mean, I don't get into this. You know, hockey players don't get sad. You might sit the goalie. You might play the backup in a meaningless game, but they don't sit out a lot of players here. So I think that, Montreal has an easier schedule, but not by much. The good news for Tampa is that they have the tiebreaker. Montreal has far fewer regulation wins than do the Lightning. So if they end up with the same points, Tampa Bay will host. But Montreal could catch Buffalo right now, for crying out loud.
They could. Now, we can debate just how much home ice means. Could even make the argument sometimes you're better off starting a series on the road. In the Lightning's case, they got about 4 key guys banged up. Hedman's still out. And they've looked at this week. They haven't had enough in playing Buffalo And I mean, the way they lost last night, oh my goodness, that startled me how they lost last night. That giveaway behind the net last night with a little over a minute to go in a tie game. I mean, very un-veteran team like. After tying it just 47 seconds earlier, dramatic goal. But it's a rough week. And 2 of the 3 games, they've had Vasilevsky in net too. So, and he's played well. He's played well in both losses. He has. So
I will say all the talk of Kucherov that we've given to Kucherov MVP, I wonder, and he's still played good. He's still got points damn near every game.
Yeah.
But the fact that they now are closer to finishing third than first, I wonder how much that's going to affect the MVP voting. Not that Kucherov or any Lightning fans should care.
Yeah. I mean, my belief was that they had to finish first for Kucherov to win the Hart and for Cooper to win Coach of the Year. And now that they're in third, I don't think it's going to happen for either one. Now, the Lightning fan Mark will be the first to point out, yeah, we had the best regular season ever and got swept in the first round, blah, blah, blah. We just need to get healthy. And you could be right. There's nobody you can't beat. But to me, what the last week has shown, because you've tried to play playoff hockey in the last week. You've tried to tighten it up. You knew you were playing good teams. You knew these were important games. And I know you can't completely recreate the intensity of the playoffs, but these were key regular season games. And you were trying to play a certain style. And you got outplayed in all 3 games. Not by much, but you got outplayed in all 3 games. Been a rough week.
It definitely has. And we'll see now. And again, I'm with you, David. I still, put it this way. Even if they finish third, I have no problem putting $5, $20, whatever you want to say, on the Lightning to go to the Stanley Cup Finals. I don't. I think they can beat any team. I think they can beat Montreal. I think they can beat Buffalo, and I think they can beat Carolina in a 7-game series. That's if Carolina even gets there. Because all 3 of those teams, and I think, Buffalo and Montreal more so maybe than Montreal, have goaltending issues. And we all know what Carolina has done. If you follow hockey in the postseason, their goalies have not shown up.
Nope.
And Buffalo has no experience in the playoffs. Montreal doesn't have a lot. So, but to your point, the last 3 games, the Lightning have, they haven't gone to 11, as it was said in Spinal Tap, but they've turned it up a notch or 2 to play playoff hockey. The intensity has been there. They've understood the importance of the games down the stretch and have played like they were important.
Yeah. And they lost 3 in a row. So now I will say this is coming off an 8-1-2 stretch. I mean, they had played really well for almost a month straight. But they were 8-1-2 in their 11 previous games before these 3. And now it's LLL. And they're in 3rd place in the division. We'll see what happens. They probably need to win out to finish in 2nd. And at this point, I don't think they can finish first.
No, I don't either. I don't either because Buffalo owns the tiebreaker. That really means that Tampa would have to win out. Buffalo would have to lose their last 2. One more win by Buffalo, and they are assured of beating Tampa. Not Montreal, but Tampa, because they're 4 points ahead of them now, and they have 2 more regulation wins. So they're pretty close to getting this thing done with the Lightning. I guess they need 3 points because if Tampa won out, essentially they'd have the same number of regular. If Tampa won out every game in regulation.
Right.
So I'm with you. I don't think first in the division is obtainable right now. I think catching Montreal is because they have 6 more regulation wins than do the Canadiens. That's the first tiebreaker. So if they end up with the same number of points, Tampa would get home ice in the first round.
But a big goal last night for Montreal, their first one. It was scored by Cole Caulfield. It was his 50th. He's the first Montreal Canadian in, 35 years to score 50 goals in the regular season. You got to go back to Stéphane Richer, the last Canadian to score 50 in a regular season. So they are celebrating that north of the border. And it will be something if it is Montreal and Tampa in the first round, and to have Martin St. Louis as head coach of the Canadiens against, obviously, Cooper and the Lightning.
We love the first, we love all of the Stanley Cup playoffs, but the first round has an intensity level that there's not another sport that can match. The physicality of the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs is like nothing else in sports. It isn't.
It's because it's when they're the healthiest. That
Correct.
for as hard and as physical as they play the rest of the way, you're getting a 10 from them in the first round. In the second round, they're giving you 8 and 9. They're giving you everything they got, but they had more 2 weeks previous.
So a tough 3-game stretch for the Lightning.
Whew.
The highest hopes have been diminished. We'll see what they do down the stretch and if they end up in second or third in the division.
Playoffs start a week from tomorrow, I believe. The season ends midweek next week, but I believe the playoffs start a week from tomorrow.
Pat Kerwin at 8 o'clock this morning. Mark Lai to talk to Masters in the 8 o'clock hour as well. The starting 5 is next.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
NBA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Bryson is misspelled. I don't know if you care.
Did I? Crap. Hang on. Son of a biscuit. Oh, a little backwards. Morning oral dyslexia. Thank you.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Is that you working on a poll question the whole break?
Well, I mean, there's a new toy on StreamYard, David, so I can actually put it up on the screen. Huh? Look at that.
Huh. Okay.
I don't know if I did it the whole break. It took about, 30 seconds, but I had a misspelling. There's a shocker for me on this show.
The two shockers of the show so far. I had a temper and threw clubs as a kid, okay? And Mark had a spelling error on his first attempt at the poll question. Pretty shocking. If you've listened to the show for any length of time, Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. I say we get to it. Unless you want to read your poll question.
Well, I mean, it would be, I mean, who makes, which of these players make the cut at the Masters? Bryson, Rahm, both, neither. Right now, 3 over would make the cut for what it's worth. Top 50 in ties.
Right.
Bryson's 4 over, Rahm 6 over.
Right. I mean, you could argue, I mean, I think if Bryson shoots par today, he definitely makes the cut. I don't know if Rahm has to do much better than par, but I bet you he makes the cut if he shoots 71.
And I think that's what I just got a feeling it's going to be 5, David. Don't ask me why. I think it'll be 5 over. Could be wrong.
It's a 91 player field. It's top 50 in ties. They went to top 50 in ties a few years ago. So, and the field is usually in the 90s recently. So take it for what it's worth. Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the Starting Five.
Brought to you by Lee County, Florida, one of the 5 fastest growing counties in Florida. Lee County, building a better community through BST, business, sports, and tourism. The Masters, we wondered, some of the big boys hadn't played recently on the PGA Tour and hadn't necessarily played lately with their A game. So how would they play at Augusta? Yeah, they chuckled at us. Rory McIlroy, nice back 9. He and Sam Burns posted a 5 under 67. They're your co-leaders. Patrick Reed, a lot of people high on him this week. He made a couple bogeys and still shot a 3 under 69. 3 at 3 under, along with Kitayama and Jason Day. Nice to see Jason Day contending in a major. Nice quartet at 2 under. Tell you what, you want to play with this group or do you want to have a beer with them afterwards? Shane Lowry, Schauffele, Scheffler, Justin Rose. That could be a Ryder Cupper, right? Lowry and Rose against Schauffele and Scheffler. Nice little quartet.
Would you want to have a beer with Schauffele and Scheffler? I think I'd rather play golf with Schauffele and Scheffler. Lowry, I'd rather have a beer with.
Well, with Lowry and Rose at the table, I think it will bring out the best, whatever Schauffele and Scheffler have. I think Lowry and Rose get it out of them.
All right.
That's the only reason why. Oh, yeah. I mean, you know,
Rose is a little stiff, too. I mean, of all the Euros, Rose seems like the one I put it this way. I'd rather have a beer with Rory than Rose.
Rose, the word on Rose is he's stiffer publicly than he is privately.
Okay. Well,
all right. So
I don't get a lot of private time with them.
Well, but in theory, we're sitting at a table with them. We're getting their best game they've got. Plus, let's face it, if there was a seat open at a table with Shane Lowry, would you not grab the chair?
Oh, absolutely.
At least for 20, 30 minutes, you would. A group of 7 at 1 under, including Tommy Fleetwood and Gary Woodland. Great to see the continued terrific play from Gary Woodland. So 16 golfers are under par. 16 under par. And that's the fewest number of golfers under par this decade after the first round of the Masters. Some of the big names who shot big numbers. Robert McIntyre, an 8 over 80. John Rahm, no birdies, and a 6 over 78. Bryson DeChambeau, still hacking away in the back bunker on 11, a 4 over 76. And even Ludwig Oberg better go low here one of the next couple rounds. He's at 2 over 74. Nice group at even par, including Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth. Spieth, for what it's worth, in interviews leading up to the Masters, said This is the best my game has been in about 4 or 5 years. He said, I am quietly confident heading into this tournament. Did you see the par he made on 18? Nobody. Seve, Phil, Spieth. Don't you think those are the 3 best at making pars without hitting the green in their first 3 shots on a par 4?
Oh, there's no doubt. The shot, I'll be on the shot Spieth hit on 10. He's tucked behind a bush, has to cut it around a bush, hits the damn bush, and then hit it to about, 10 feet and missed it. That would have been a monster birdie. 10's a hole you just take 4 and get to the 11th tee.
Right.
And he nearly made birdie there.
He had to go sideways because his tee shot was in the left trees on 18. Okay, he hits a big sweeping shot. It just rolls off the side of the green. He makes the putt. And as he picks his ball up out of the hole, he was walking towards his caddy, and he just puts 4 fingers up and goes, that's a 4. So JT, Spieth, Koepka, Hideki got her up Sergio, all at even. For what it's worth, Scheffler tees off at 10:19 this morning. Rory has the second latest tee time of the day. So your afternoon coverage will be dominated by Rory McIlroy. To hockey, 14 games in the NHL yesterday, and about 12 of them had playoff implications. Montreal beat the Lightning 2-1. Cole Caulfield is 50th. Game-winning goal with 64 seconds to go. Lightning have lost 3 in a row. They've fallen to 3rd place in the division with 3 games to play. Ottawa continues to strengthen their grip on the second wildcard spot. They beat the Panthers 5-1. They've got, I think, a 3-point lead for the final wildcard in the East. Columbus has fallen 4 points back. They lost to Buffalo 5-0. Sabres have a 2-point lead in the division. Big win for the Red Wings to stay 3 points back of Ottawa. 6-3 Detroit over Philly. Philly remains in 3rd place in their division by a point over the Islanders. The Wings are 3 points back with 3 games to play, trying to chase down a playoff spot. You seem disgusted that they played well and won last night because you've put a fork in this team and you think it's too little too late. So this just honks you off more, doesn't it?
Yep. You said it perfectly, David. I have nothing to add to your statement.
But you watched last night, didn't you?
Yep.
Islanders' first game under Peter DeBoer. They outshot Toronto 44-16. At one point, the shots on goal were 28-6. They won 5-3. Islanders a point out of 3rd place, which is an automatic playoff spot in the division. Penguins clinch a playoff spot. I'll tell you what, executive of the year, coach of the year, you and I thought the Penguins might pick first overall.
You and I and everybody else. I mean, this wasn't just Miller and Moulton out on a limb saying Pittsburgh is going to have a lottery pick. That's what everyone thought. They're old. They're slow. He retooled an entire lineup basically in a year. It's a remarkable job, and you're right. Executive of the year might be coach. The coach of the year vote, he's going to get a bunch and deserves them. Tremendous year for the Pens, really and truly, even if they get bounced in the first round, David.
Well, the Penguins not just clinched a playoff spot, Mark, they clinched 2nd place last night, so they'll have home ice in their first round playoff series, which right now would be against either the Flyers or the Islanders. Dallas beat Minnesota 5-4. That pretty much clinches 2nd place for the Stars in their division. These 2 teams will meet in the first round of the playoffs. Utah beat Nashville 4-1. The Mammoth clinch a playoff spot. And they'll be the first wild card, so they won't play Colorado. Meanwhile, Nashville falls a point behind the LA Kings, who beat Vancouver 4-1. So the Kings would have the 2nd wild card right now, and they have a game in hand. Anaheim beat San Jose 6-1. The Sharks are all but out of it. They're 4 points back. Anaheim and Vegas are a point behind Edmonton. Vegas finally lost, albeit in a shootout, to the Kraken 4-3. So 3 teams separated by a point in that division heading into the final 3 games of the year. Winnipeg, Mark, is like your Wings. They stay 3 points back of the final playoff spot. They beat St. Louis 3-2. College hockey, the Big Ten still has a shot at another natty. Wisconsin outplayed North Dakota, beat them 2-1. However, number 1 ranked team in the country was Michigan, and the Pioneers from Denver beat them in double overtime 4-3. So it's Denver and Wisconsin, 5:30 Saturday in Vegas on the 4-letter network for the Natty.
It's the second time that Denver and Michigan have met in the Frozen Four. Both have gone to overtime. Denver's got them both times against really talented Michigan teams.
6 games in the NBA. Well, you can pretty much pencil the Heat in as the 10 seed in the East. So I don't know how many home games they're going to play. They're going to have to win 2 play-in games just to make the playoffs. They lost to Toronto by 14. Toronto's tied with Atlanta for the 5 seed, both a game ahead of Orlando to avoid the play-in in the East. Remember, NBA regular season ends Sunday. Knicks beat the Celtics 112-106. New York stays a game ahead of Cleveland for the 3 seed in the East. Boston needs one more win or a Knicks loss to clinch the 2 seed. So we thought we'd get LeBron against Steph last night, but it's the NBA. So one of them has to sit out for load management. It was Steph. LeBron had a big night. The Lakers beat the Warriors by 16. Golden State is locked in as the 10 seed. Lakers tied with Houston for the 4 seed. Rockets beat the Sixers 113-102. But the really bad news is Embiid had appendicitis and had to get his appendix taken out. Who knows when he'll be back to play? And he was going to be healthy at the start of the playoffs for the Sixers. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's a few weeks. I mean, that just
Yeah.
is. You know, it's a painful thing.
Yep. And they're in the play-in right now, which means they're scheduled to play Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. I mean, that's a bad break. All right, over under 10,000 was our question for the Marlins yesterday. They beat the Reds 8-1. Casey 3 hits, 3 RBIs. They're 8-5 on the season. Mark, over under.
I was under yesterday. I did not look at it. That is my bet.
Under it is 95-78. We thank you. Drive home safely.
For the first place, Miami Marlins.
Arizona 4 in the 7th, 3 in the 8th, beat the Mets 7-1. Jeffrey Springs took a no-no into the 7th in the Bronx. A's held the Yankees to 1 hit and beat them 1-0. The Twins swept a 4-game series from the 4-9 Tigers.
Worst record in baseball.
Brooks Lee with a 2-run single in the 8th. Minnesota 3-2. White Sox beat the Royals 2-0. Bogarts with the grand slam in the 12th. Padres over the Rockies 7-3. And finally, this story is going to take a while, but boy, could it have legs. The Department of Justice has opened up a probe into the National Football League. Why? Over their television deals. See, there was a law that was passed in 1961, but it covers the big sports and network television. Yeah, doesn't cover cable, doesn't cover streaming. Department of Justice basically saying, why do we have to pay so much to watch the NFL? So they're beginning a probe into the National Football League. I got to admit, of all the departments of justice to do it, I didn't think it'd be this one. And that's 7 minutes before the hour. That was the starting 5 big stories you needed to know, courtesy of Lee County, Florida. They're building a better community through BST, Business, Sports, and Tourism.
So the Department of Justice going after the National Football League.
Well,
I mean, think about it this week. In the last week, we had an executive order on college sports and the DOJ going after the NFL.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
PGA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Left Twix, I do. I do believe it. You know, he had all the shots, Brian. The problem is he was all risk. And if you do that sooner or later, you're going to get yourself in trouble. That's one word to use, Left Twix. Just curiosity, can you all see the poll question on the screen? Because none of you in the Twitch or YouTube chat rooms have voted, or at least in my opinion, or in my eyesight, tried to opinion. Because you can vote through this, I think, and I'm curious if it works. So I'm actually going to try. Yeah, see, there we go. It worked for me. So I don't know if it will work for you folks. I don't know if you see it. So what do I think of her? I think she's good at her job. I think she's funny, but unable to vote. Okay, thank you. Did you type? Because all you're supposed to have to do is type in a number. Now, I've not seen any numbers come up except for the one I typed. So you just type in 1, 2, 3, or 4, depending on, but can't vote. Okay, Interesting. I think that maybe that means you have to be on StreamYard. All right, fair enough. I did put it up on X, so it's there as well. Okay, well, that one, so Twitch can. I mean, interesting. So now I'm seeing vote. You put, I mean, everybody who's voted, your numbers are coming up. And I see it working right now. Have you tried to vote, Ambient? You keep telling me you can't vote. Have you typed a number? It says type 1, 2, 3, or 4 to vote. And unless you type a number, it doesn't count your vote. Gotcha. See, look at that. You can vote. Look at the everybody that's put in. Yeah, it's very small on the phone screen. I got you. I'm sure it is. It's because I don't have it on the. I've got the chat. I've got other things on here, so I understand where you're coming from. I just like the fact that a lot of you who are watching and never participate in chat, I'm now seeing names. So it's not Chicago, Johnny Mac. I don't think you can.
That was good, Mark.
So yeah, enjoy the tunes. My buddy, Raj, my buddy out in Oregon, who came to visit me, he's a big music guy. And he sent me. I'll actually send you these bands too, but he sent me a couple of bands, and they're just, I don't know, they're kind of like jam instrumental bands, a little bit of funk. And I said, wow, look at you're going through your instrumental thing. I like it. And he comes back with, okay, Mr. Steely Dan, because he knows how much I love them. Like, I laughed.
That's where that came from.
Yeah, I laughed.
That sounds up my alley, though.
I laughed my tail off. I'll send you the instrumental ones because you'll like them, I bet.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Friday. Hope you've had a terrific week and hope it leads into an even better weekend. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. So our first trivia question of the day. Sometimes we have more than one. Sometimes this is it. Some of the big names didn't do well yesterday at the Masters, like Rahm and DeChambeau, 6 over, 4 over. They both missed the cut right now. Both probably have to shoot par or better to make it. Will they? I think they both make it.
I do too. That's what I voted for. Poll question. It's on X. It's also on our YouTube and Twitch page for the first time ever. New little gadget I have, David.
Huh.
So if you're watching the show, you see the poll question in the lower left of the screen. If you're watching it on your mobile phone, it's going to be difficult to read. But apparently from the folks in the chat room, you can zoom in and check it out. So I was laughing because they're all going, I can't vote on it. I'm like, well, it says press 1, 2, 3, or 4 to vote. And they're all, I can't vote. I'm like, did you try to press? Because I can see the chat. And no one typed the damn number. And then now you're seeing all the numbers. So they're jumping in. And a lot of folks who we don't see in the chat room have voted because they just kind of observe and listen and don't participate in chat. So top 50 in ties make the cut. Right now, top 50 in ties are 3 over. Bryson's 4 over. John Rahm is 6 over. If you double yesterday's 3 over, obviously that gets you to 6. I just have a strange feeling it will be 5. Don't ask me why. I don't think it goes, definitely don't think it goes to 7. Like, I don't think it'll be worse today than it was yesterday. But you never know if you just double it. But that's where we are as far as the cut line. That's our question. There's no big day today, no food day out there. We already did the pimento cheese versus the egg salad.
Right.
So there's no real need, and I don't have a food question in my mind right now. Did have some great Chinese last night, though.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Szechuan, actually. And you know you're at a good joint when they're actually speaking Chinese to the owner at the tables. Like, we were the only table that spoke English in the restaurant.
Were you
Food
the
was
only
tremendous.
Were you the only table that used a knife and a fork? Or maybe not a knife,
No,
but a
we use
fork?
chopsticks.
Oh, yeah. I don't eat Chinese food with chopsticks.
Yeah, I used the because I got it.
Yeah.
It was a bowl, a
Yeah.
noodle bowl. So I used the great.
Yeah.
Those spoons, by the way, maybe the most underrated silverware utensil that there is on the planet.
They're soup spoons?
Yeah, but it's not just how big they are, David. And I know you like size because you can get a lot in that. So I
You
know
can.
right from the get-go, you're a fan.
Mhm.
But what these had on it, now I have to check every place I ever go to. There was a little hook on the back end of it. So you put your spoon in the bowl and the spoon slips down into the bowl because there's nothing to stop it. These spoons, a little hook. Fantastic. Made my day yesterday, David.
See, Mark, when you're at the buffet like I am, you have to eat so fast. Okay, or at least I do. So that that's why I can't slow myself down with the sticks. Okay, I just got to stick with the silverware.
David, if you were forced to eat with chopsticks, I don't know if you. I don't know if you have the technique. I could see you at some point just getting pissed off and taking one and stabbing right through the middle of the food and using it as like a single tong fork, if you will.
Right. I'd be like prehistoric times with, the guy who just takes and just stab my fish out in the water. Boom. And I come back with the fish at the end of, the arrow. Okay. How you going to eat it? I'm just going to start gnawing on it right now. Do you want to heat it up? Yeah, I'll put it over the flame for a while, but yeah, this is my dinner. Yeah, I can't do the chopsticks. They're too frustrating. No, I took up golf at a young age. That's what I thought was my sacrifice, is to test my patience. I couldn't also do chopsticks.
So I did actually think of you last night at dinner because there was one couple at the restaurant where it was they were maybe a little bit older than me, not by much, but a little bit older than I am. And the guy was the woman was Chinese. She was speaking with the owner in Chinese, and the guy was a white dude. And she's, of course, using chopsticks and the spoon, and she's enjoying her dish.
Right. Yeah.
And he gets all this food that I don't want to, because there's really nothing American on the menu, but he had a couple of fried appetizers, and I think it looked like he had a rice bowl, and he's just got the fork. And I'm like, she was just placating to her. Here, just you eat this.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You can use your fork. I'm going to enjoy what I like to eat here. This is my one meal a month that I get to choose where we go. So how about you just leave me alone for a minute?
I'll talk to the owner. You just watched the Lightning game on that one TV back in the far corner.
Well, if there would have been a TV with a Lightning game on it, if there would have been a TV, I'd have been shocked. But if it had the Lightning game on, I'd be back every night, for crying out loud.
Miller and Moulton. Hey, I didn't realize this. Maybe you did. Maybe everybody listening is like, yeah, I heard that months ago. So apparently they're down now to 8 minutes in the first round in between picks in the draft.
Yeah.
Like I said, I hadn't heard that. Okay. I mean, remember at one point it was 15. Then I think they went 12 for a draft, and they settled on 10. I mean, listen, as it is, I think we don't get enough analysis. Okay. I prefer to think forward. Okay. First off, if you're watching the NFL draft, this is another thing that I would argue with the networks about. In fact, I have argued with one of the networks about, in which I'm like, listen, if we're watching the draft, you don't think we know who these players are? Do you think you have to run the 2.5-minute highlight tape? Okay. Seriously? You don't think we know we're watching the NFL draft. Do you know what goobers we are?
Boy,
okay.
And David, I'm not saying you're wrong. That's an interesting take, because I would always think the majority of the people are watching the draft to see who their team takes and then want to fight because we just devour the NFL. So if you're right, you're giving me information that I've not thought of in that way. I'm not being a jerk here. I'm going, I think people are watching going, who's my team going to take? And now I get to find out about whoever that guy is because I love the Browns or the Jags or the Lions or whoever the hell it is.
I mean, don't bore me with a 2.5-minute Fernando Mendoza highlight tape after the Raiders take him. Okay, like there's one person watching this who doesn't know who he is. Okay, I mean, okay, Raiders took him. He decided to stay home with friends and family. I guess his mom is not in the best of health. And so
She has MS, right?
Yeah, right. And he's going to be with them. And so, I mean, maybe you have a live picture, and I don't know if you can get an interview with him or not, but whatever. But 8 minutes is not a lot of time. Not a lot of time. And listen, I'm all for moving it along. But I just don't think they talk enough about thinking forward. Like, to me, Mark, it looks right now that the draft starts at 5. Okay? Everybody is, for now, zeroing in on Mendoza's going to go to the Raiders. Between the Jets and the Cardinals, one of them is going to take Reese from Ohio State. The other is going to take, Baker from Texas Tech?
Yeah.
It's Bailey.
Bailey, sorry.
David Bailey.
Okay. And then right now, people think Tennessee's taking Love, the running back from Notre Dame. And that essentially the draft's going to start with the Giants at 5. Okay. You want to, when the Giants are on the clock, not only do I want to know quickly what it is you think they need, but just talk to me the strategy about how this pick's going to influence. I want Schrager to say, I'll tell you right now, if the Giants take Mar-a-Lago, the Saints are going to be furious or, whatever. I mean, just because it looks like that's where the draft starts.
And I'm with you as long as Tennessee takes Love. Everybody thinks they're going to. I have it starting one spot sooner just because if they don't take Love, then
yes, what
do the Giants do? Do the Giants now all of a sudden they never thought Love was going to be there, and all of a sudden he's there, and it's like, well, crap, we've got him rated as the best player that we've got to take him.
Well, and then don't you think Cleveland at 6 is like, well, if he's on the board, we're taking him. I mean,
yes,
we need help on offense, and he's the best offensive player in the draft. So, yes. So you could say the draft starts at 4, but everybody is seemingly right now settling in on Love is going to the Titans. Okay.
And I'm with you on obviously Mendoza. We know the skilled guys, but I don't know a ton about David Bailey. I didn't watch Texas Tech play a whole hell of a lot. I love the way you think. And it's why I've actually enjoyed when we've done draft shows in the past, because we're very different than what the NFL Network does, than what ESPN does, than what's done on the radio. Now, I don't know what Pat does because I've never lived, but the draft, the ESPN radio, they've got their own people doing it. When David and I have done draft shows, while I'm still sober for those shows, we think that way. Then I start repeating myself around pick 22. But if we do one this year, I can't drink, so I'll be all in. But you're right. We are always going ahead, and we usually find out before the networks because they've made their commitment to not tell you who's getting picked, even though it's usually on social media before the pick happens, because they're playing their game.
Well, and now that ESPN has bought up NFL Network, I don't know, is there anybody left to give us the pick early? Schrager, Jeremiah, they're all technically, their paycheck now says ESPN.
Yeah, I think someone from The Athletic.
Okay.
I do, but your point's a very good one, David.
But, I mean, how many tips can Vrabel give Rossini? Hello.
If it was just the tip, I don't know if we'd have the same problem that we have right now.
All righty then.
You want to give the number to the text line, David?
I was going to say, this is where you definitely need a phone number.
Well, 21,000.
Let's go back.
Florida text line.
Let's go back to that damn poll question. Oh my goodness.
Miller and Moulton. Pat Kerwin coming up in 45 minutes time or so, and Mark Lai at the bottom of the 8 o'clock hour. The poll question, Bryson, Rom, who makes the cut? Both, neither, or just one of them? That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I don't wiggle out of my show words. I say what I say. I stick right to it, Paula. I knew exactly what I meant when I said that. Don't kid yourself. I think it's true. I thought it was true from the get-go.
That was just gold, though, Mark.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Got another one coming at you here. When we were getting the Bailey name wrong, why, I don't know, because I'm not a Phil Collins fan. I was thinking for a second, was that the guy that did the song with Phil Collins? But it was also Philip Bailey and Phil Collins. That Easy Lover song. It's not a bad 80s little ditty.
Always liked that one.
I did too. I mean, and I wasn't a huge Phil Collins guy.
Actually liked his ballads more than his upbeats. So.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, like, I like Billy Joel, but when he started doing Uptown Girl, like, really? I don't know which one I like less, Uptown Girl or Allentown. Those are probably my two least favorite Billy Joel songs. Oh, and Pressure sucked too. Well, once he got past
I'd put Tell Her About It before Pressure and
all right,
Allentown.
Allentown just drives me nuts. I hate that song. It's that was like it for me with him. And I loved like The Stranger and Glass Houses. When I was a kid, I thought those were just spectacular albums.
That Allentown has sort of a piano riff that reminds me of Werewolves.
Okay.
London.
All right. I'm with you, Chris. I also hate We Didn't Start the Fire. Yes. I'm and Left Twix had it first. Yes, I'm with both of you there. Like, there's a line where, to me, Billy Joel jumped the shark, and it's a clear-cut line, and the music wasn't good after that.
Clear line.
And you forgot. I mean, and I've seen him in concert, and I was shocked. I saw him at Cobo in Detroit, and he's climbing the wires. He's going nuts. I'm like, who is this guy? I thought this was the guy that played the piano.
That River of Dreams might be worse than all of them, though.
It's why when they put the channel on Sirius, I can't listen to it because there's just too much crap on it. Off of that album, it's not even my favorite, Left Twix, believe it or not. Captain Jack's my favorite Billy Joel song.
Ooh, I love that one. I got to go Scenes from an Italian Restaurant.
Another great song.
We were spoiled in the Northeast. If you take a look at the music that they pumped out from like 74 into the very early 80s, we had Springsteen and Billy Joel just pumping out music.
That was Springsteen's glory days, no pun intended.
You know, and then, but Joel meets Christy Brinkley. Music changes, but he has commercial success. Bruce, Born in the USA. Music changed. He has commercial success.
It's usually the way it goes.
Yeah.
There's usually a line with all of them. Uptown Girl is gold. Uptown Girl blows.
No.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Pat Kerwin at the top of the hour. Mark Lai in a little more than an hour. NFL and the Masters, the focus of our 8 a.m. Eastern hour, our third hour of Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us. Our poll question, it's Masters themed, and we focus on some of the guys who struggled. Rahm and DeChambeau were what? Two of the top 5 betting favorites? Maybe two of the top 4?
Rahm was number 2. I think they were both tied for like Scheffler, Rahm, and then I think Bryson and Rory were the same to start the tournament.
Okay. And Rahm, you hear about the bogey-free rounds. You don't often hear about elite players having a birdie-free round. Rahm, no birdies, a 6 over 78. Bryson DeChambeau, this will be interesting because DeChambeau usually tries to put a lipstick on a pig, and he didn't yesterday when the round was over. He didn't say no to any media requests, but he was not in a good mood. Probably the worst mood I've seen Bryson in doing post-match in a long time. Answers were pretty short. He wasn't disrespectful, but he was furious with himself. You could just tell.
And that's okay, though. I mean,
yeah.
I know they don't owe us a damn thing. I get it. But you take off the journalism hat for a second, or the media hat, David. Don't we as fans love to see honesty? And we love it as you and I as show hosts. That's all we want.
Yep.
So I'd much rather see the interviewer end up having to be a little uncomfortable because the answers are really short and they've got to work. David, you and I have done thousands of interviews by this point. I mean, literally thousands.
Mm-hmm.
Every once in a while, you get a guest and they give you a sentence. And it's like, ooh, damn, I gotta be ready now. For every Tim Brando that you can leave, go cook a meal, not eat a meal, cook a meal, and come back for the next question. Every once in a while, you get someone and you can't take a sip of your coffee.
The name escapes me right now, but I think it was an ESPN person who was very accommodating to us, but his answers were always one sentence. And so, by listening to the show, we prefer to go back and forth. I'll ask one, Mark will ask one, whoever starts, the other goes second, what have you. We just prefer it. Every now and then, if you're watching the show, one of us kind of looks at the other and goes, hey, can I do a follow-up here? But for the most part, we split interviews in half. Well, when an interviewer gives you a few sentences for an answer, that's good. It gives the other person a chance to listen to the answer, sometimes follow up off of what they said, or just go to the next point they want to make. But when the answers are short, you got to be ready. Especially on the radio, you got to be ready. Can't have the dead air. Just got to go. So, but that was DeChambeau yesterday. By the way, Mark, for what it's worth, I don't think they owe us, quote, the media anything. But in theory, we're just the conduit to you. You're the fan. Now, I know the media now operates differently than it used to. It's more opinionated, it's biased, and the media people themselves are now becoming the stars, as opposed to, quite frankly, just being the person that holds the microphone so that you can get the answers that, in theory, you want to hear. Because I don't think they owe me anything. I think they owe you a lot. Like I do. And I understand you're honked off. You had a bad round of golf. Yeah, I just suck it up, dude. You got to talk. And I'll go back. I said it to, who were we talking to? Was it Whit Watson earlier this week? And I said, hey, when the 17-year-old lady, okay, asterisk tally, okay, blew the Anwa with 2 in the drink on 12, number 1 amateur in the world, okay, and she blew it. And with tears in her eyes, she stepped up to the podium at Augusta and answered every question. Then DeChambeau can answer the questions too.
And he did yesterday.
Yep.
And for that matter, I think you look out through the whole March Madness, the NCAA tournament, those players in games that they lost. Now, I don't remember which coach, it may have been Pitino that said it. The winning team goes to the podium first. Excuse me, got something in my throat there. The winning team goes to the podium first. And Pitino did say, why do we have to wait 45 minutes after we lost? We'll come out, but why can't we go first after a loss? You got to let us sit and agonize before we come talk to you. I thought that was a valid point.
Well, that's interesting though, Mark, because when I first covered NCAA tournament basketball, it was in the 80s and the 90s. The losers went first. I mean, when I heard Pitino give that answer, I went, wait a minute, that's not how that used to be. Wow, they changed that. And then I'm thinking, why would you change that and make the losers sit around and wait some more?
And I guess this goes for both sides, but when are you more apt to get honesty? Right away. The more they sit and think,
right,
the more they may not give you that 6 seconds that David and I yearn for as guys that are, I guess, in the media. We want that truth. And you usually get it right away. But that being said, both teams and the players, and I know they're paid now. Look, I'm not calling them amateurs, but they're young men. That we can all at least agree on. And young women in the women's tournament. They both go to the podium and have to give answers. So to me, why the rest of the other pros can't?
Well,
by the way, just quick sidebar. You see in the portal, Michigan landed like one of the best big men. The kid from Tennessee is going to Michigan.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Michigan was publicly lobbying without mentioning anyone by name. They were publicly lobbying for him and others during the Final Four, talking about, well, if you're a big man, how could you not want to come here? Look at what we've done with bigs. Okay. All the bigs want to play for Dusty May. That was the associate head coach at Michigan. I remember seeing that quote before the title game, and I'm like, look at you, dog. Okay. Not only preparing for UConn in 1 minute, but recruiting in another. Look at you.
Well, the portal opened before their presser was done, for crying out loud. You got to be ready on the fly. It's not just a change in hockey anymore. It's how you handle the portal in college hoop.
By the way, take it for what it's worth. Summerall and the Gators landed a 4-star quarterback yesterday. Highly thought a guy. Hey, Napier had his recruiting wins too, and we know that what that added up to. But so far, so good. He wants to toughen the team up, and he's doing pretty well recruiting the high school kids. Okay. All right. I mean, what can you do in January, February, March, or April? But so far, so good.
You've got to be able to do both now. You've got to be able to be effective in the portal. But the really good college football teams also have to recruit. The Ohio States, the Georgias, LSU. You think of the, Indiana's done it a little bit differently. They had to. But now they're even getting kids as well. So, yes, Florida off to a good start on the recruiting front. We'll see how much it translates. It won't be this year with some of those guys, but they got a lineman, a 5-star lineman, and now a quarterback. So, so far, so good for the Gators. But as you said, David, we shall see.
Miller and Moulton. Pat Kerwin at the top of the hour. Mark Lai in about an hour, as we devote our 8 a.m. Eastern hour to football and the Masters. Our poll question, Rahm and DeChambeau both had big numbers yesterday. They both would miss the cut for what the cut line is right now. Will they make the cut? Both of them, none of them, or choose between the two? That's our poll question. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening.
NCAA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
The Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This
sound.
is Miller and Moulton.
Leftwicks, I know you didn't ask me, but I'll answer. The acoustic version is good, but the outro on the electric version can't be beat.
Yeah, when it comes to Clapton and a guitar, I'll take him playing an electric every day. And I like acoustic guitar a lot. In fact, there's one sitting in the corner right now that I play poorly. Well, you got to have the siglet, Clark, so you can put it in the neck of the guitar for the solo. When I saw Zappa, I've never seen anybody smoke more of a cigarette in one pull than Frank Zappa would. It seemed like it was a quarter to a half of a cigarette, Winston, as he would rip it, put it in the neck, and then just let these screeching solos go.
When I saw Petty, he had a joint going back by the drums on an ashtray on a stand, and he would just walk back and hit it every once in a while.
That's funny. Where'd you see Petty? I saw him when he played. Well, I think it was Germain at that time. But
yeah, I saw him 3 times there. And the last one is I sat side stage, so that's when I noticed the ashtray.
All right, very cool. Yeah, I've actually got a decent video of what do I has it? Oh God, now I can't think of it. But when it was on the day of his passing, someone it was like I put it up on TikTok. So like I've never seen this video before. It's not out there anymore. I'm like, well, that's because it's on my phone.
That is pretty cool that you saw Zappa. That's pretty.
Yeah,
crazy.
I saw Zappa in Detroit when I was in college. We had front row seats. He put a second show on. I'm trying to think. It wasn't like St. Andrews. I can't think of it. It wasn't the Fox. I can't think of the theater off the top of my head. But he did Stairway to Heaven for the encore. And when it came to the big guitar solo, he did it with horns.
Nice.
Yes, I did. So I'm open for Robert Plant at Wing Stadium in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Probably the best single person I've ever seen in concert. It's either that or seeing Guns N' Roses right before Sweet Child of Mine broke. I mean, Welcome to the Jungle was already big, and I think Paradise City was the second single that was released, but Sweet Child of Mine hadn't hit yet, and I was in the front row, GA for Guns N' Roses at the Saginaw Civic Center. Either Stevie Ray Vaughan or GNR, 2 best concerts I've ever seen.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
Pat Kerwin at the top of the hour. Mark Lai in an hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. So ESPN's getting a lot of grief, more so than I think they've gotten in all the years that they've televised the Masters. And they've televised the par 3 contest in the first 2 rounds of the Masters for a long time now. But Mark, their coverage of the par 3 contest, I think it has changed people. They're now watching the regular coverage, and they're not liking Scott Van Pelt and Curtis Strange when they never used to say a word about Scott Van Pelt and Curtis Strange. I mean, the Wednesday coverage of the par 3, where there were a lot more celebrities involved, like they were trying to make it that U.S. Open before the U.S. Tennis Open starts, when they got all the celebrities on the court. And they're getting crushed.
For the par 3 contest, huh? I have no
Yes.
interest in the par 3 contest, so it's not
Yes.
something that I look at one way or another. I just know now it apparently is the way on the PGA Tour. If you're good enough to qualify for the Masters and you're dating someone new, it's the way to let the golf world know that, yeah, she's important because she's caddying for me at the par 3 contest.
Correct.
And while I've always thought, in a quick sidebar, David, our jersey rules, and not New Jersey, sports jersey that we've said, and I've abandoned them. I don't care what age, wear your jersey wherever the hell you want. I don't care anymore. But we always had a simple, hard and fast rule that women can wear jerseys for any sport at any time, and we don't care because, damn it, they look good in them.
Right.
Even a hot woman may look better. Does look better, not may. A hot woman, and this, in another life, I would have put this up as a poll question. And I'm not doing this to be derogatory towards women, but good-looking women, a good-looking woman in a jersey or in a Masters caddy bib, I'm going the Masters caddy outfit every damn time.
Really?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I hope my wife's not listening.
I was going to say, I didn't realize this was a soft spot and then some for you. Wow.
Well, first off, PGA Tour players, and rightly so, overdate and then some.
Boy, do they ever. Okay. All right. And their mistresses are better looking than their wives. I mean, man, oh man.
Except for in Tiger's case. But,
Yeah, well. Yeah, Tiger's gotten a lot of things wrong in the last 20 years.
He really has.
But anyway. Now, I will say, can we put an end to the Tiger's the greatest golfer of all time? This is my sidebar. Can we just put an end to this, please? Okay. I'd rather you make the case LeBron is the best basketball player over Jordan. Please stop it with Tiger's the best golfer of all time over Jack. Could we please stop? Stop. It's embarrassing. He's not. He wasn't. He's not going to be. Much is being made that if it was 40 years ago at age 46 that Jack won this tournament, his final Masters, his final major, for that matter, his final PGA Tour win. Yeah. This is what Tiger has denied himself and us. It's not just what Jack did at 46. All right. He finished second in the PGA at 43. He won PGA Tour events at 44 and 46. All right. Jack finished sixth in the Masters at 58. Jack was in the final group on Saturday of the Open Championship at 56. Okay. Jack was on the first page of the leaderboard at 60 in the third round of the Masters. That's what we're being denied here. That's what Tiger had to do to overtake Jack. And
Wyndham
we're getting
Clark and
none
Matt
of it.
Fitzpatrick overdate. Okay, sorry. I thought you were done. I can't get it out of my head.
Listen. You are so right, though. Okay. I mean, hockey players and golfers have always dated very well. Very well.
But and so do Rob. But the hockey player I got, they're in great shape. Mm-hmm. Two, they're tough. Girl, I can see where they like the toughness of the guy. Even I lose a tooth. You still, there was a guy who was not a good looking player for the minor league team I worked for in Southwest Florida. He wasn't. And old time Everblade fans would remember the name Kevin McDonald. there was nothing good looking about Kevin McDonald, but he was tough. He was missing a tooth. And damned if he didn't walk around with some pretty ladies. But so back to the par 3 coverage. I didn't watch us, and I was going to see if Jason Kelsey was an idiot. And I had other things I would have rather done that day. And I don't care about the par 3 tournament.
I got to be honest. Like, I blame Augusta for those that are upset about the par 3 contest and coverage. I blame Augusta. Blame them. Trust me, you have to get approval for everything you're doing. You have to get approval for everything you're thinking of doing at the Masters. You do. That's not a joke. That's the truth. So they signed off on Pat McAfee being there and being on air. They signed off on Travis Kelce, okay, being a caddy and hitting tee shots in the par 3 contest. Okay. They signed off on Kevin Hart as a caddy. So, you know, it apparently.
I'm stunned by it. I'm actually stunned that Augusta allowed it. I really am. I mean, I didn't know the par 3 was a muni, and I'm not being a dink here. I don't know. I hold Augusta to a certain standard, and they have gone far below the standard that I hold them to. And if you've listened to the last 2 segments, my standards are not that high.
But I have a feeling that what was allowed this year is not going to be allowed next year. The folks at Augusta are not happy when they get criticized, but they're really not happy when the criticism is valid. That means they made a mistake. I wouldn't be surprised if Augusta turns around to ESPN next year and basically they have to treat the par 3 contest like a legitimate golf tournament. That's what I think could happen because, Mark, Augusta does, like every other sports network and sports entity, they pay attention to social media. Don't kid yourself. They do. And they are getting destroyed. Okay. Amazon took heat for, I guess they started their coverage yesterday, not with golf, but with a 10-minute interview with Jack. I love Jack. I do. Okay. Love him. I got 2 hours. I'm interviewing Jack. They're doing a 1-hour show on Sunday on CBS right before the final round about the 86 Masters. Okay. I got 120 minutes. I'm spending 10% of it on Jack. And not only that, and I'm sorry if this comes off badly, and I'll say it again. I love Jack. Jack looks terrible. Okay. You see Jack on television and you go, oh, damn. I mean, he's not looking good. And
so funny you say that. That's the text I got from a buddy. I mean, yesterday morning, a friend of mine since I was 3-4 years old, when I moved into my first house with my parents out of the apartment, one of the first people I met, he texted me yesterday at 7:30 or 8:30 in the morning. He went, wow, Jack looks old.
Yeah. Oh, there's no question about it. Now, I will say, and I commented this a few years ago, when I was doing golf with Fox, we had to do all the USGA events, and one of them was the U.S. Senior Open, and it was at Jack's home course in Ohio. And it was shortly before Arnie passed. And he came to the booth and he did an interview. I mean, if you're at Jack's home course, you got to interview Jack. Okay. But Jack's like 5 inches smaller than he was when he played also. I mean, Jack's not nearly the physical specimen at all that he was when he played. I mean, Jack's now a little man. It's like striking how small he is. So, but, you know, if you're Amazon, I mean, I don't know. Maybe save it to today. I don't think I would have started off my coverage. People are watching you do the Masters for the first time and you're doing an interview. How about some golf?
You've got players that are shooting some scores. You got things going on.
I got Patrick Reed and Rory McIlroy at the top of the leaderboard, for goodness sake. I got former champions, including the defending champion, that are at the very top of the leaderboard. I love Jack.
Stop
It was
right there.
40 years ago.
Stop right there. You got Rory. I mean,
Yeah.
literally, with Tiger being gone from the sport, and I know Scheffler's the number one ranked player, I would argue that Rory's the face of the sport on tour. He's more popular than Scheffler. Scheffler might be better, Rory, particularly worldwide. Rory's more popular.
Yeah, no doubt.
And he likes the microphone. You're going to get it, and obviously ESPN got it later, but yes. And one of the reasons we've always loved watching this tournament is they give us what they show. That's what we expect them to show. So, question today, Rory, Bryson, and John
Mark,
starts.
Mark, unfortunately, your internet's gotten really sketchy here in the last minute. You could try talking now. Hopefully, it's cleared up.
But that's our poll question. Bryson and Rahm got off to bad starts. Which will make the cut? Rahm, Bryson, both, neither. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton. On X, they're watching on YouTube or Twitch. You can vote right on screen. New little gadget I found. So there you have it.
What is it? Just by number? 1, 2, 3, or 4?
That's it. That's
Okay.
it. Pat Kerwin coming up top of the hour. Draft less than 2 weeks away. David said it starts at 5. He's probably right. But if the Titans don't take Love at 4, I think that's where it starts. But there's not a mock I've seen in the last week that doesn't have Love going 4 to Tennessee. So you're on to something with that. The 2 defensive ends going 2 and 3, the quarterback going 1, and then we'll get this started.
By the way, is Tennessee quickly building something here? If they take Love, back-to-back drafts, they go Cam Ward and Love. I mean, Brian Dable is offensive coordinator. I mean, how good do we think they can be? How quickly? They're putting together their version of the triplets, aren't they? Just saying. Get a dominant offense. You can win a lot of games. Don't know if you can win a championship. You can win a lot of games. You can go from the outhouse to playoff contention pretty quickly if all of a sudden your young quarterback and your young running back live up to their draft status.
They need a third one to be triplets.
I
2
know.
or 3 are maybe there with Love, but it's funny. We talked about it earlier this week. That's a sneaky good division.
Mm-hmm.
We had Jay Harris on yesterday. That's the best defense in the league at Houston.
No doubt.
Jacksonville's got a solid football team. Indianapolis, before Daniel Jones got hurt, what were they, 8-2?
8-2, lost out. Lost their last 7. By the way, there was a report yesterday. I don't know if it's true, but there was a report that said that the Jags are going to be like 95% Travis Hunter at cornerback. And that he's not going to have a regular wide receiver rotation. He'll have set plays and set circumstances, but that, him being on the field regularly as the 3rd or 4th receiver, that's being shelved. If that's the case, then they gave up way too much for him. I mean, they sold us on giving up what they gave up for him because he was going to play both ways. I mean, otherwise, he's literally got to be Deion Sanders, Mike Haynes to live up to what they gave up for him at a corner.
And I know he's young, and certain players get older. They're third down specialists for a pass rush. I wonder if he could just be, a third down specialist in the slot, if you know what I mean. Miller and Moulton. Pat Kerwin next. Mark Live, bottom of the hour. Miller and Moulton.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
NCAA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You hear me, guys?
Hear you perfectly. Hear the birds in the background. Good morning.
There you
How
go.
are you?
I'm doing great. The birds say hello too.
I like it.
Sounds like he's at the Masters.
I know.
No, I'm at the West Bay Golf Course. A little different. So at the owners' meetings, Liam Cohen told me on air that he's playing defense. And then said, I haven't talked to him yet. And the GM at another interview said, he's playing defense. But Liam said, I haven't talked to him yet. Get your story straight, fellas. We know he can't play both ways. We've been saying it since the day they said they were going to try.
Yep, you've been all over that, Pat. Absolutely.
Well, Bill Cowher said, look, I had a guy named Rod Woodson. We thought about doing it too, but he couldn't do it. No one can play 150 plays. Oh, and I keep asking the same question. Wednesday morning, 9 a.m., team meeting. Right after the head coach has his meeting, we split up to offense and defense. Which meeting does he go to? Because the one he doesn't go to, he's already behind. And as Liam said, once we got Jacoby Myers, we were set. They don't need him on offense.
Well, they don't. They have 3 wide receivers minimum. Okay.
Yep.
They don't need him. Now, if they want him in their 4 wide receiver set to just be their go route guy, that he just runs goes, okay, to maybe occupy a deep safety, that would make sense to me, but anything else doesn't.
Yeah, I told Liam, just have him return punts. That gives them a chance to handle the ball 6 times a game. It's hard to learn offense. It's not hard to learn defense. He knows the defense. It's the same stinking coverage as college. Yeah. But it's Jacoby did it because he exploded when he got there. And then they put a deal on him, right? They signed him.
They gave him like $20 million a year for 2 years, didn't they?
Yeah. We don't need to know anything else. The contract tells you what the truth is.
Which, by the way, it's not just me wanting to make trades. Take a look at how impactful the midseason trades were last year. Okay, Seattle picking up, Shaheed. Okay, yeah. Jacksonville picking up Myers.
No, they were important trades and impactful in a lot of ways. So, yeah. Signability is an issue. When you don't think you can get a guy signed, you're willing to trade him. And some of these guys on this 5th-year option stuff, I was going through this the other day going, look, if I'm not going to put a 5th-year option on you, I need to trade you this year. It's that simple. And there's a couple guys. Lucas Von Ness, that guy. I'm not putting a tag on him. Trade him now.
If you trade a guy in his 4th year, can the team you trade him to put the 5th-year option on him?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you got to trade him now because this is when you declare the option.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So
here we go.
Just interesting, different guys. But anyway, having a lot of fun. We did an interesting mock draft yesterday. One to go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Halfway home in Jacksonville and Tampa St. Pete, final hour of the show. Southwest Florida, Punta Gorda, Port Charlotte, Venice and surrounding areas, Live Oak, Lake City and surrounding areas. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Our poll question, both Rahm and DeChambeau with big numbers yesterday, 6 over and 4 over. Will they make the cut? Yes, no, or you decide one guy will and the other won't. Vote accordingly, and you can now vote if you are taking us in on our Twitch and YouTube channels. It's time for Pat Kerwin. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, weekdays 3 to 6, joining us courtesy of Pinchers. Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. How you doing?
Good. I'm just getting ready. I'm in the Augusta miniature golf tournament tonight at 9. Want to join me? Because that's
grandkids in going to Congo River. There is that what's going on, Pat?
No, I told them we're close to having miniature golf at Augusta. They got everything else going on over there. So
no, and that's because if you listen closely, you can hear the birds in the background from where Pat is sitting on his lanai. So it's Augusta South or Augusta Mini. Is what Pat says.
These birds, however, are not piped in. They're actual birds in the background. All right, we're less than 2 weeks away from the draft. Pat, David, and I don't even want to call it an argument. We had a little discussion earlier. He thinks the draft starts at 5, and I think to a point he's right if Tennessee indeed takes Love. But to me, I'm not certain that they're taking Love, so I think it starts one spot earlier. I don't, we think the 2 edge rush guys are going 2 and 3, whatever order they go in. We know Mendoza is going 1. So where do you think this draft starts?
Yeah, well, Jake and Hester and I try to go do this intelligently as best we can. It's good going to owners' meetings, talk to a lot of guys. So we did one yesterday for the first round. And guess what? I had the first 2 picks. Mendoza's easy. I took David Bailey, and I've been taking David Bailey every time. Bigger, stronger, more ready to rush the passer professionally. He has more than a one-trick pony. So guess what Jake did? And you can make a case for this, and he believes it's going to happen. He took Love to Arizona, the 31st ranked running offense. So that's what he did. And that put Reese at 4. And then I had the Giants at 5. And one of the things that happens when you're in the real draft room is that you get a little nervous about certain guys. And I would think, like, I took basically 6 offensive linemen in the draft yesterday, 6 tackles, because I know how they can line them up. You can put a tight end next to him, play him early. And I took Francis Mauanoa to the New York Giants. Big 20-year-old, passed his physical. He's fine. And I had no problem taking a big tackle to the Giants at 5. So I think the top 4 kind of actually always stay the same and shuffle them around. Mendoza's always 1. Then Bailey, Love, and Reese are 2, 3, and 4 in some order. But I really liked what Jake said about Love, because their running game is horrendous. And this guy, is a way to set up that part of it. So it could happen. I've always done it a different way, but he likes seeing Love. And the guy's a former running back in the NFL, and he understands what he thinks the impact would be. So that's how ours shook out. And then in Cleveland, I took Monroe Freeling. He's moving up the draft boards because he's a left tackle who ran 4.9. And so many of the other guys are right tackles. You need a guy that's going to left side. That's why Freeling's moving up for me. So, and Sonny Styles dropped to 7.
1 or 2 guys drop every year. And if your guys' mock draft is how it played out, I really wonder if Tennessee would take Reese at 4. Because don't you think that they were awful? They were not a good team, but they were not good on offense. And they made a change at head coach, who then brings in Dable, and his job is, Cam Ward. And so I'm wondering if they would, whether it's taking the best tackle or taking a wide receiver, I'm really wondering, would they take Reese at 4? That if Arizona took Love, would that really mess up Tennessee?
I think it would, but I don't, and you guys don't have to agree with Jake or me, but if I'm Arizona, the Love pick makes a lot of sense. So yeah, that would stir the pot on Tennessee for sure. So what's the job? The job is to support that quarterback and get him where he can actually win. And there's always 2 ways. The running back in the backfield always helps, right? You're going to get cover 1 on first downs, and you're going to be able to throw slant routes, or you're protecting them with linemen. Those are the 2 things people do. I would not, you guys might see this different, I do not like the receivers in the first round. Tyson's medical history, forget it. I'm not getting involved with a guy. Wide receivers with chronic hamstring, nope. They're on the sideline missing practice all the time.
Well, and it's interesting, Pat, because and everybody's got their different top hundreds. But as I'm looking at the one that I print out for myself, so I've got something in front of me at all times. They literally have 6 receivers ranked in their top 30 players. So not only Tyson, but the Indiana receiver Cooper, the Concepcion from A&M, and they even have Boston from Washington in there. We talked with some folks earlier this week who we talked to Antoine Staley, who covers the Jets, and he made the point of the Louisville kid, Bell, who would have been a first rounder if he wasn't hurt. So
yep.
Pat, it's just how it's how the run on these players goes. It doesn't always matter what your board looks like. So teams draft for need. And if you're right, and I think you are with the number of tackles you talk about, it just matters when the run on the position goes, right?
Yeah. So the first receiver yesterday for us was at 11. So nobody in the top 10 chose a receiver. Cooper did make our first round for the first time. He was a tremendous interview. So as he visits places, now we looked at Cleveland. I think Cleveland's had 9 receivers in now. So they're telling us what they're trying to do, but I would not up there at 6 take one of those receivers.
No, but at 24.
Yeah, I would at 24. And I think the guys are going to fall down into that area. So we had a bunch of receivers late in the first round. And the Bell kid is getting a lot of action now because people are starting to, I think they've been digging, Mark, and they keep looking around. Lemon was a bad interview. Tyson's got a medical history with multiple things. He's not even going to work out till the week before the draft. And what is he going to do? He's had everything you can think of, ACLs, hamstrings, I think collarbones as well. So I don't know about him. Tate's slow. I don't mind 4 or 5 guys. If they're the big, and he makes sense to me in a place like Carolina where you already have McMillan who can get vertical and do everything else. This guy could be, Michael Irvin wasn't a speed burner. So I do like him, but I don't like him up high. Place like Carolina at 19, fine. But nowhere else, above those things. So it's interesting. And as I said, you tell me, either one of you, which one of these receivers is a true one? Because I don't see it. I see 2s and 3s.
Well, it depends on who you talk to, because there are some who thinks the Ohio State kid's one. There are some who think the Arizona State kid is one. All right, but I'm with you. I think of more of them as 2s, and I'd be comfortable if I'm the Jets at 16 taking the one I see as best who's still on the board, but I'm not comfortable taking one of them in the top 10. I am curious, how far down do you feel the Ohio State safety, Caleb Arnold, okay?
Caleb
Downs, I'm sorry. How far does he fall?
He fell to 12 for us. The medical stuff is real. And anytime you hear the word degenerative, you get nervous about, and your doctors will tell you, this is when the doctors come in and say, he probably has a 4-year career or a 5-year career. That scares the death out of you if you're the top pick. Now, this guy is a football player. I think we were talking about him a month ago in the top 5 or 6.
Yes.
And the medical stuff has banged him a bit. So now it's the length of the contract. Now, no one really knows the answer to that. Our doctors failed Ronnie Lott. I'll never forget it. So we eventually got him on the team when he was 105 years old. But Mekhi Lemon is who we put at the Jets at 16. I sat with Mekhi Lemon. It was okay. It wasn't terrible. People are bashing his interview. He just seemed, and I'll say this, my reaction to him was he was not interested in the interview. You go to the combine, it's a job fair, and you're not interested. I don't know, Mark. Does that turn you off? It turned me off.
It would turn me off. I'm curious. Go beyond Downs. There's 2 other safeties that are pretty highly rated. The kid from Oregon and the other kid from Toledo. And Pat, if I'm not mistaken, you talked to the Toledo kid, I thought, at the Senior Bowl. I thought at some point you talked and raved about him, but I could be mistaken there. Will we see, is it possible to see 3 safeties in the first round?
I saw Thieneman going to Philadelphia, right? They lost Blankenship, and they kind of let it happen. Right, and a lot of people thought he's going to go to Minnesota, but they need a big defensive tackle. They lost 2 tackles to cap reasons, right? Whether you liked them or not, their 2 big bodies are gone. So when we got down to Philadelphia, there was Thieneman, and then McNeil Warren landed up at San Francisco. So yeah, 3 of them made the first round for us. We're going to do the second round today, which is way more interesting.
Folks are curious that if the Ohio State safety fell to the Cowboys at 12, you had said your first wide receiver went to Miami at 11. Who was the choice?
It wasn't mine. It was Jake's. Tyson. I'm not taking a medical receiver. Nice player. Too many injuries. We can go through all the injuries here. Hamstrings, which is my favorite problem. ACL and collarbone. He's missed a lot of time. He is very talented. But no, Jake has comfortable taking him. I would not have done it. Miami needs receivers, obviously. But that was the first receiver off for us. And I told him before we started the draft, I'm not taking one in the top half of the draft. So good luck.
All right, 30 seconds, Pat. Messador, where did he go from Miami? Because I've seen him in mock drafts slip out of the first round. Who ends up with the other edge for the Canes?
Yeah, well, we had a conversation 2 weeks ago about Ruben Bain falling down. Well, Ruben's been hanging in there 8, 9, 10, 11, and that's put Akeem Mesidor at Tampa Bay. I think the guys who do football have studied Mesidor, and they really like him. The football, when I talk to D-line coaches, friends like that do that part, they love the kid.
He's Pat Kerwin. NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, weekdays 3 to 6. We have more time with Pat. Mark Lai in 25 minutes to talk the Masters. Kerwin and Lai on Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
It's funny, Pat, that you had the Browns guy going the Georgia guy. The mock I'm looking at has the same thing for the exact same reason. He's the left tackle in this draft.
He is. And he went flying up the board since the combine. He ran 4.93, and he's a big horse. This guy was a very good basketball player in high school. You see his feet. I interviewed him at the combine. We had him on a Saturday morning. He was really interesting, very athletic. And the other guys are, big power blockers. And you know what? Even the Alabama guys should move over to the right side.
Well, and I keep seeing him, Proctor. I've seen him a lot with Detroit just for that reason. Putting him on the right side, they feel comfortable there because they're going to move Sewell to the left side. So I'm like, okay,
yeah. And if he got past Detroit, which I don't think he would. Now, he's got a little, stuff that he's got to deal with. But if he got past him, the Chargers could not resist him. They got to protect that quarterback.
yes.
But I did a special thing for Sirius on him, so it was kind of a long form. And I looked. The more I worked on him, the more I said, just move him to the right side. He's a mauling run blocker. Did I tell you his weight room numbers? Did you hear his weight room numbers?
No.
You ready?
Okay.
I'll never forget the numbers. Full squat. Now he's 6'7". Full squat. 815.
Jesus.
Bench 545. Power clean 405.
And if
That's
I'm
over
not mistaken, you're big on the
pounds.
power clean for guys, right? That's one that you pay more attention to than the bench, right?
Yeah, for the lineman, because it's your hips, your lower body, those are the things you have to maintain. Like the strength guys always talk about the weight in the back of your body. Your legs, your butt, your back, and the squatters and the power clean guys. And something happens. That's why I was worried about Mauanoa, because if that was a disc, he's not powerlifting anymore. And that when they stop powerlifting, it's really hard to maintain power, which is what they need to have. But he got the clean bill of health, so he's fine. I just threw him right up there to the Giants. But that kid, I will say this, I sat down with him, our friend from Alabama, and it was interesting listening to him he knows he's not a finished product. Some guys think they are, but Proctor was kind of honest about it. But as I said, I would just move him over to the right side. And now a line coach should work him out. And if the line coach thinks he can get out of that stance and play, good. But I don't know about left. But he's the strongest combined 3 lifts. He's the strongest guy I think I've ever interviewed. It used to be 750 was the most I ever saw a full squat. And I saw that one live. This was 815 or 814 full squat. Ridiculous for a 6'7" guy. I love the names for round 2 today. You know what I would do on a trade? We're not doing trades, but I'm telling you, Seattle has 4 picks in the whole draft, and no 4th and no 5th. And you know John will trade. He wants a lot of picks. If I was Arizona at 34, I'd call John and swap out and get into that bottom spot and take Simpson, and beat the Jets out on him. And because John will take a 4th to do it. He's only going to go 2 spots. He's going to get whatever he wants anyway. But if I'm Arizona, I know the Jets are going to take the quarterback. I need a young quarterback. It doesn't cost a lot to go into 32, and John would do it.
Interesting.
But I think the Dolphins' new GM would do it too. And I'm wondering if you're Arizona, do you think you need to go a little higher than 32?
Well, if he goes to Miami, it's over, so I don't know how much they would give, but I just want to jump the Jets. So that'd be and I would just say to John, look, if the guy we want's there, would you do it for a 4th? That's how you talk to these guys. And yeah, we do it for a 4th. John, he had 4 picks one year, and I think he landed up with 9 before the draft was over. But you got a couple of teams. I was just looking at, there's guys that have to go get extra picks.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Our remaining moments with Pat Kerwin, Mark Lai, and a little more than 15 minutes to talk the Masters. Pat joining us, courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers where you can't fake fresh. We talked to a Houston Texans guy yesterday. Works in Houston, covers the Texans. And obviously the $80 million question is C.J. Stroud. Miller and Moulton kind of talked ourselves into, if you're the Texans, and he talked about what it is they need, which is probably an impact weapon on offense. Could you argue, Pat, there are 2 in this draft? One is the Notre Dame running back, and the other is Sadiq. And we kind of talked ourselves into, if we're Houston, with that defense that's under contract for at least 2 more years, would we do what it takes to maybe go all the way to 11 or 12? Do we have to go to the Rams at 13? Because you think Baltimore is going to take them at 14. If you're Houston, would you pay the price, which could be next year's 1, for Sadiq?
Well, I agree that they could use him, and they need a guy like that. And I do think you have to get ahead of Baltimore to get him. We went through the tight end. You look at last year, we all know what goes on. I don't care about a new coordinator in Baltimore. What's the quarterback all about? He likes throwing at tight ends, and there's only 1 left on the roster. Would I go all the way up there? I don't know that one would do it. That's the problem. And so if I came back to you and said, thanks for the opening offer, but you're going to have to give me more. For me, Baltimore to go all the way down there. Because why would Baltimore, for a first-round pick, I think I'd ask for a 1 and a 2 to go that far. That's a long way from 28 up to wherever you want to go, 13. And, of course, you could never make that until the draft's over. Now, let me ask you this question, because you love this stuff, David. Why name the teams that should take Sadiq ahead of Baltimore? like, to me, there's guys that have to look at Sadiq as a wide receiver. He's so
Rams,
special.
then.
Thank you.
I mean, the Rams. I think, Pat, I said this. I think he's the only gold jacket potential guy in this draft. I don't know linemen well enough. I don't know edge guys well enough. I'm not smart enough. I don't study the game from that end. You know, you and I were talking during the break about Proctor's bench and squat and clean and jerk numbers. I'm not going to go there with anybody because I don't feel I'm qualified. But on talent, I think he's the only gold jacket guy in this draft.
He has a chance to be all of that. And I don't look at him as a tight end. I just look at him as a universal receiver that is going to be scary in matchups. And he alone is going to force big nickel on the field all the time because every time they open him up and make him the X, what are you putting out there? The corner? What if there's two wide receivers to the other side? Yeah, I like the guy, and I think the impact he could have in the game could be legendary if he continues to be the way he is. It's not like he had a full college career of doing this, but he is special as an athlete. And so anyone up there, let's go. You know, when I say things about those wideouts, you know, if I put Sadiq in that group, he'd be the first one off the board. Why would I take Tyson with his medical history instead of Sadiq? If Miami wants a receiver, why wouldn't Miami just take Sadiq?
Well, that's why, you know, we started talking ourselves in. We said, well, you got to get ahead of Baltimore at 14. And Mark goes, well, if I'm the Rams, and I go, well, yeah, especially since, okay, Puka's in rehab and Devontae's 32 years old and entering the final year of a contract. So now we got to get ahead to 12 at Dallas. And Dallas, will they trade out at 12? That's a really good pick, blah, blah, blah. So what would you have to overpay to give them? Well, then do you have to go to Miami? Is Miami in enough of a rebuild to pass up Sadiq? You know, I mean, we kind of talked ourselves into every time we opened our mouths, we were having to go up another team.
Right. And let's climb one more time. This is just a statement. You can shoot a hole in it. Kansas City has a tiring old tight end who's got 1 year left and a receiver that may not play again. You tell me what Mahomes would do with Sadiq, considering Travis is done in a year at best, and then the other receiver may never play. Who knows? Why wouldn't they want him? They've been tight end oriented this whole time. Is Sadiq the only guy that could transfer the talent of Travis Kelce to the future?
All right, I want to focus on a couple other guys. One, I want to know if this guy went in the first round because I've seen him in the first round, but you're doing the second round today, and that's the D tackle from Florida, Banks. And also, as you do the second round, is the Florida center going to be a second round guy, Jake Slaughter? Are they second round guys? Or is Banks a guy that could slip into the back end of the first round, Pat?
Yeah, so first I'll start with Slaughter, one of my favorite players in the draft. He's going for me in the second round today. I have no problem taking him probably to Seattle at the bottom of the round because if you wait after the second round, you may not see him. So I love Slaughter a lot. So that's where I have him. You know, someone might grab him before me, but I intend to take him at Seattle at 64. Which there were no centers taken in the first two rounds last year. And that's fairly typical of how centers go. But this guy's a special player. So that's him. Now, in regards to Banks, a little bit of medical stuff there, but I put him at Minnesota. This is the first time he had him this high. I put him at Minnesota in the first round. They are shallow at the big wide bodies. And I had two Viking callers call right away saying I wasn't even thinking of it, but you're right. Scary to see our defensive line since they let the two big guys go. So I put Banks right in there. He's a rare body.
Okay. If you're the Vikings and your priorities are we need a safety and a defensive tackle. Okay. Who are you going where? Okay. You just said I went defensive tackle in first round.
Yeah.
Would you? Okay. So you're then, because you're going to miss out on the three best safeties in the draft if you wait till the Vikings pick in the second round. I'm curious if it's defensive tackle, safety, you're going D tackle first?
Yeah. And I'm tell you where I'd come back in the second round and I'll take Kilgore from South Carolina. He's the guy who replaced Eman Worry. He's the guy who's played safety, corner, nickel, and linebacker. That sounds a lot like E-Man Worry. He's 210 pounds. He's tough as could be. Son of a military guy. I go right to Kilgore in the second round. You don't have to like my answer.
You mentioned Cleveland with the tackle, and I've seen that before because he's the only left tackle. Cleveland at 24. You know, when you talk about those receivers, Pat, that you're not in love with, they need one. Do you see Cleveland going receiver with their second first-round pick? Same thing with Kansas City, for that matter.
Yeah. Omar Cooper went to Cleveland with their second pick. And I'm a big fan of Omar Cooper.
Yeah,
Who was the other one?
I've seen him go
Kansas City. Like, I mean, are they going receiver with 29? Because they need help there. They need help in a lot of spots, but they do need a receiver.
They do, but their defense is wounded and not able to play the way they did before. I did not take one there. I took TJ Parker there. They cannot keep relying on one guy named Chris Jones to do everything. They are not very good rushing the passer, and it came real clear last year when they played against Denver. And I was at that game. So, nope. 2 defensive guys. Now, that I laughed when I did it because you never know with Andy. Andy, he likes what he likes and all that business. But Spags, he needs to fight for the guys he needs. So, nope, didn't do it.
I'm curious if Cooper makes it past the Jets at 16. Okay.
He shouldn't.
There's a lot of people that have the Indiana wide receiver being the Jets' second first-round pick. He's Pat Kerwin. NFL Radio's moving the chains weekdays 3 to 6 with his new co-host Jacob Hester. And Pat joins us Tuesdays and Fridays during the season, courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. Pat, have a great Augusta mini golf weekend, and
Yes.
we'll talk to you next week.
Very good, guys. Thank you very much for having me. Enjoy your day.
Mark Lai to talk the Masters next on Miller and Moulton.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Well, Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512. American Paint Supplies. For nearly 30 years is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Well, Javier, one, you're welcome, but I didn't do it for you, but I do know there's a lot of Gator people out there, and those are the 2 top Gators, and I'm interested in both. Got the Miami guys. Unfortunately, the one I didn't ask the question, I'm kind of pissed. The UCF kid I wanted, and I missed out on that because the UCF kid I've got is, ranked 36, their edge there, Lawrence, but I wanted to get to all of those guys and screwed up and missed the UCF guy. And unfortunately, literally at the list I'm looking at, this is so depressing if you're a Knoll. There's not one Florida State player on my top 100 list. Not one. Wow. How about that? I do try to take care of Gator Nation as best I can. Personally, I don't know where I would rank you as far as my favorite SEC teams. It wouldn't be as high as you would want, but show's easier if they're good. Same thing with Florida State. That's why we root for the big three. Worried about the 4 and 5. UCF's got to make a bowl here at some point. And who knows what happens with USF. I like the hire, but we've liked hires before there, and they've not worked out. So I have no idea what to expect with Heartline. I hope for the best, but I can't expect much because we've thought hires were great in the past, and they haven't been. And this one looks great too.
We're right on the last guy, wrong on Skip Holtz.
Wrong on the guy before that didn't do the Clemson guy that.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, he was bad.
Yeah, really bad. And we didn't think that. I'm guessing you're calling Mark Lai right now, Raj. If you're not, you need to.
Got Mark.
I figured. Really, Javier? Do you really think that way? Because trust me, I loved the Rich Rod years in Ann Arbor.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the bonus hour in Jacksonville and Tampa Bay. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Thrilled to welcome back one of our favorites, Mark Lai. He played in the Masters. In fact, he had the lead on Sunday at the Masters in '84 when Crenshaw won his first green jacket. Mark, I know I asked you this once before, but I don't remember the answer. Were you in the fairway on 10 when Crenshaw made the 65-footer for birdie, which started his charge?
Yes, I was, and it just rocked my world in a bad way. And I remember Tom Kite. Tom Kite was standing over there. He had a 4-wood in, and I had a 4-iron in. And as soon as Crenshaw made that putt, it was an earth-shattering moment like I have never heard in my entire life. As soon as the crescendo built up to when the putt went in, Tom Kite's neck turned beet red, and his balls just left his body, and he was scrambling around trying to pick him up. He was done.
Well, they hated each other. Kite hated Crenshaw.
Yeah.
They were rivals all through Texas, college golf, high school golf, junior golf. Kite hated Crenshaw.
Exactly. And this was back when they were both in their kind of prime, and they stayed in their prime for quite a while. But look, I loved Ben Crenshaw back then, and I did not like Tom Kite. So I was saying, okay, if it ain't going to be me, at least I'm going to be watching the guy that's going to be doing it. But what's really funny, Dave, is that so I hit my 4-iron a little bit fat. Tom was done. I mean, he was grasping at straws, and I was 2 back, going to the 10th hole, and I hit it in the exact same spot that Crenshaw did. Don't you know that I hit the hole from down there, and it spun out and went about 8 feet? Yeah, I hit the damn hole from the exact same spot that Crenshaw was, and the putt spun out on the top side and went about 8 feet down to the left. And after I missed that putt, it was like, okay, I was 2 back. Now I'm 4 back. And, so I just kind of like hung on. And so anyway, it was a great memory, but I do remember the earth shattering roar when that putt went in from Crenshaw.
Well, you got to something that in a direction that I didn't think it would take me, but I do want to ask this because, look for all of us, hack amateurs, sometimes you play in a foursome and you really like the guys you're playing with and you have a great day and it's just fun and golf's easier. Sometimes because I play with a group of 20 guys, sometimes I get in a group and I'm like, oh man, this is going to be a long afternoon. So I'm curious at the highest level. We like to think you guys don't pay attention to that stuff, that mentally you're strong enough that you're just playing your own ball, chewing your caddy, and you're playing your game. How important is it on the whether it's today, tomorrow, yesterday, today, or the weekend? How important is the playing partner, and how is that dynamic going to help or hurt certain guys?
No, it depends on the frame of mind that you come in there with. I remember, when Rory was leading, he had the big lead. And the first 2 days he played with 2 of his besties, right? He played with Justin Thomas and Ricky Fowler. And then so he had this lead, that was just going on. I think he played with those same 3 guys the first 3 rounds. Or at least on the weekend, they went to twosomes, and then he played with another really easy guy for him to play with. And then on Sunday, he got paired with somebody, I want to say it was like a Patrick Reed or somebody that really, maybe it was Jason Day who was playing real slow. But that affected Rory. It took him out of his, he had 3 days of blessed golf. And then all of a sudden he got to Sunday, and this was crunch time, and it didn't really fit. Well, we have those kind of things, like my first 2 rounds that year, David Ogren was the first guy that I played with. And I wasn't really a friend of David's. And I said, I'm really not liking this at all, But if you get into your zone and you get into your game, David and Mark, you just don't really let that stuff affect you. Now, if you're playing with Jack Nicklaus or if you're playing with Tiger, I mean, whoa, wait a minute. This takes an extra amount of, guts and not really knowing that they're watching you. So, yeah, it does depend. You know, the guy I love playing golf with the most is Fuzzy Zeller, but I never played worth the crap when I played with Fuzzy. You know, it's funny. I mean, he had me loose from the first hole on, and was that part of his deal? Probably not, but that was just Fuzzy. You know, is like a guy, man, I love playing with this guy, but I can't play worth the shit when I play with him. So, you know, there are guys that really turn you on, you know, on the golf course. One guy I loved playing golf with was Greg Norman because, man, we both cut our teeth kind of like in Australia, and then he went over and played in Europe. I played in America. But when he came over to America, I just relished the time I could ever play golf with the guy. You know, I mean, he was the man. So, yeah, it all depends. So, yeah, it makes a big difference, you know, who you're paired with, but it depends on what frame of mind you're in the most.
Mark Lai, we're talking the Masters and golf in general. Okay, when you were watching yesterday, what struck you?
The golf course has some serious teeth this year. Yeah, we saw a couple of 5 under pars, but we saw a lot of guys hanging on for dear life. I mean, just going over some guys. The Oberg had it 3 under after the first 8 holes, and he had a wreck. Tommy Fleetwood 4 under for a while. He had a wreck. Justin Rose bogeyed the last 2 holes. Gary Woodland -3 +2 on the back. Ola Thobel -2 +4, and then our poor guy Freddie Couples. I mean, how are you playing so well, and then all of a sudden you make a 9 at 15, and then you double 16, and then you double 17, off the charts. So he goes 6 over in the last 4 holes, you know. So, and I know Freddie's older, but still, I look at some guys like Rahm. There's a surprise, +6. DeChambeau, there's a surprise. So I think that this is setting up to be a very difficult weekend for these guys because the course looked like it just had some serious, you know, teeth in it, especially late.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, obviously we've all watched, and usually it anywhere that course can get you, but I think we've seen more 40-30s, if you know what I mean, than the other way around. And it certainly seemed like it was yesterday that the back 9 had the teeth, Mark, and that's not what we're used to. So I don't know if a guy will go grab it Sunday or a guy will spit the bit on Sunday, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean that's very interesting what you say, Mark. I mean, you know, we're looking at if you shoot a couple over on the front, you're saying, okay, at least I have the back coming up. But man, we're looking at guys making X. I tell you what doesn't get a lot of steam out here, and as a player, I will tell you, if you aren't able to go for the 15th in 2, and you have to lay it up, that is the hardest third shot in golf. And I saw a lot of players, you know, knocking in the water there and then knock it in again on you know, the dropped wedge. But that is a shot that scared the hell out of me. And here's the reason why. It's a downhill lie, okay, unless you lay it up far left. And you're hitting to an uphill target that's like a ribbon up there. There's no depth to that green. So, yeah, it looks like a par 5, and it feels like a par 5. And then all of a sudden, wow, it's, you know, you knock it in the water like Adam Scott did. Now you've got your work cut out for you just to even make 6, in my opinion. So Gary Woodland yesterday, I mean, he had it under control. He thought a perfect shot to 15. And he says, okay, the last place I want to be is short. And so he hits it a little bit long. Now he's almost in the lake on 16 and makes 6 on the hole. So I think the way the course is right now, Mark and Dave, is seriously firm, and it's going to really make these guys tighten up. 14 was a tough hole location, 15 a tough hole location, 16 front right is the hardest hole location, 17 back right, hardest hole location, and 18 back left, hard hole location. So, you know, I think they set up the course reasonably hard for round 1. Usually they kind of like, you know, it's like the honeymoon, you know, they don't really come at you with the hard hole locations. But yesterday I noticed they were tough.
Well, Freddie commented he's rolling through 14 and he had a perfect yardage for his third shot on 15. He said, and talking about, and you've talked about it forever, the margin of error. He said, I was probably one groove too thin. I think I was
Yep.
one groove thin. He goes, and
Yep.
next thing you know, I'm going 9, 5, 6.
Yeah. It's amazing what one groove thin will do or one groove heavy will do at Augusta National. What you have to do there, and I remember when I was playing well, and I played in it 3 times. I never missed the cut. But and I just, you know, it was so serious to have the exact right number. If you're short or if you're long, forget about left and right. If you're short or if you're long, if you're not dialed in, you're scrambling. I mean, look at Rom yesterday. Wow. Look, you know, I mean, he was all over the place. And this place will expose you same way I think that TPC exposes you. If you don't have a part of your game, you're not going to be able to fake it around Augusta National. I mean, the only guy that faked it to me yesterday a little bit was Rory, because, man, he was Army golf, left, right, left. I mean, but he got away with it. And, you know, he's playing on house money now. And so we'll see what he does through the week. But he's got an afternoon time today. And we'll see how hard the course has shaped up. And we'll see if they've sucked every bit of moisture out of those greens, which they can do with that sub-air system.
Well, you talked about, you know, Woodland, the shot on 15, and he was so far back there that was impossible. He ended up bogeying. But we talked about it yesterday a bit, Mark. Just to me, the one thing that's not talked about enough there is your ability to get up and down. And we've watched Scheffler do things chipping there. And I don't know if he's a great chipper. He certainly seems to be at Augusta, but you're going to miss greens.
Yes.
And that's the part of the course that I think is, you know, underrated from how tough it is the ability to get up and down because of the undulation of the greens. And if you're missing long in some of these greens, the guys who can get up and down and chipping seems so difficult on this golf course.
Well, that's why Jordan Spieth in his day was a hard guy to beat, you know, and he was always a great chipper and putter, and Scotty Scheffler the same. I'm actually surprised that Scotty Scheffler is doing so well. He had it going early and then just kind of hung on at the end. Another guy that played better on the front than on the back. Of course, an eagle birdie start won't hurt you. But no, that is an unglamorous part of the game that you have to have at Augusta National. I remember going there the first time, and I spent more time around the greens practicing than at any other event. It's just the way it is. And they weren't standard shots, Mark. They were basically shots that you had to be creative on. I mean, you had to aim 10 feet right. You had to go uphill. You had to go uphill and then downhill. So you had to be a magician around the greens. Hopefully you're not chipping that much. But there are some key shots that you really, really have to have, and you have to have a great sand game. You know, we watched the Augusta National Women's Amateur, and this, what's her name, Asterisk Callie. She had the lead. She knocked it in the bunker on 12, you know, and then put 2 balls in the water from the bunker on 12. So that tournament was over for her. But that's what I feel can happen at any time this week. I think 12 is nasty. I think 14 is a nasty little hole. 15, 16. Wow. And then you got to play 17 and 18. So this is going to be a very interesting Masters come Sunday.
20 seconds. Who was your pick? Well, I picked Rahm. Okay, so just to make you feel better, I picked Rahm.
I had Rahm and DeChambeau and Minwoo Lee, a combined 14 over, something like that, 16 over. So don't ask me. I am not having a good week here. So I would be aware of a past champion here and a scrambler and a great chipper and putter, and that's Patrick Reed. I think he's just tough as nails. We'll see. We'll see, but don't count Scheffler out, which I did early in the week. I thought he was playing poorly, but, you know, he makes a liar out of me a lot.
Someone on this show picked Patrick Reed. He's the guy who didn't speak in this segment, so he's just smiling. Mark, as always, thanks. Have a great
Thanks,
weekend.
guys.
We'll talk soon.
You guys too. All the best. Cheers.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
The
sound.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
EPA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Head-to-head Ron and Scheffler today, plus 1,400 on Ron. That's crazy numbers. Oh, that's tournament. I'm sorry. Okay, that's full tournament. They only have one head-to-head for the day. That's terrible. They do a lot of three-ball things on the Hard Rock app. Ooh, Rose, Spieth, Koepka. Where would you go? That's a fun one. So they've got Hard Rock doesn't do the head-to-head for the day. They've only got 1 2-ball match, and it's not anything I'm interested in. But out of the 3, plus numbers on all of them, plus 150, 175, 180. Rose, Spieth, Koepka, just for today.
And they all have morning tee times, right?
I think so.
Yeah, because that's important.
Koepka and Spieth are in the same group, so I think they do.
God, I thought Koepka played great on the back nine yesterday. I mean, he missed 2 birdies inside of 6 feet. I thought he was playing great.
I think I'd go Spieth out of those 3, Sonny. I know you went Rose. I'm not arguing with you. And again, what do I know? My account's dwindling again. I had built this sucker up and I start making stupid bets.
By the way, how about Koepka's shoes yesterday? Thought he was playing golf for Oregon.
All the downhill all started with that damn first half unders. Went 1 and 2. Michigan loses by a half. Son of
on that late ridiculous foul call. Thank you, baby Jules. And yeah, we've always been big fans of Mark Lai. Glad he took a liking to us.
Yeah, he is really the shit.
Yeah, he's and he's not afraid to say it. Yeah.
Well played, Raj. Well played.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour, or as Mark has called it this week, the pro hour, because we're on the air live in Jacksonville and Tampa St. Pete. A couple of NFL cities, Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. It's early at Augusta, but I think there's one golfer under par for the round so far who's teed off in like the first 8 groups that have teed off today.
Well, that's because you didn't update it and they both just made a bogey. Because what I had 2 and now I have none. So, and they were at the bottom of the pile. It was Weir and somebody else way down at the bottom, but maybe someone else has made a birdie. But you're right, David. And they've just started. So we'll have updates throughout the morning, but they're just underway at Augusta, round 2. Probably the best early, group, if you will, is you've got Scheffler going off early this morning. Rose goes off a little before 10. Bridgman, this guy has played just unbelievably well as teeing off right now. But Woodlands with Scheffler, they go off in about 20 minutes time. And then Spieth and Koepka are right before them at 5 minutes of 10. They tee off. So those are some of the morning groups that are going out. And we'll see what Friday brings to Augusta National. I do want to go back to some of the things Pat talked about, David, because it is the pro hour. And when he mentioned the Bucks, and because they've got the tight end going before Tampa, and there are a lot of people that have Sadiq tied in with the Buccaneers, but obviously if he goes before 15, they change directions, and they had, Pat had them going with Mesidor, the edge. I think you would do the happy dance with that one, wouldn't you, David?
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, if I'm Tampa, I may have to think about trading up a few spots. I may have to work out something with Miami at 11. I got to. Remember the draft where they had to come away with a tackle and they made sure that they came away with Wirfs? They had 4 tackles that were willing to be taken, and he was the 4th one, the last on the board. And Tampa moved up 1 spot, he even gave up a 4th round pick to move up 1 spot to ensure that they got him. I feel Tampa, Mark, has to attack the first round of this draft getting an edge rusher. Have to get one, period. End of sentence. And if Bain falls, and there are some that think he could be on the board at least 9, possibly even 11, okay, I might get a little crazy if I was Jason Light. I'm just wondering. I might get a little, my hands start shaking. Maybe I got to do something.
Well, yeah, I've looked at a bunch of different mocks. I've got different rankings in front of me, and I've been paying a little more attention than I normally do. But this last mock that I look at that just came out late last night, Mesidor didn't even go in the first round in this. I fell over when I saw that. It makes me challenge the legitimacy of this one. But as Pat talked about, you've got the kid from Clemson that is, pegged to go in the first round. You got Falk, the kid from Auburn. And I didn't get to it. And I apologize to the UCF fans out there because I wanted to ask about Lawrence, the edge from UCF, that I have as a second round guy. But in this, they have him going late first. So I know where you are with the edge guys. I think if they want edge, they can stand pat and get one. But the Bain thing would intrigue me. Now, what I'm looking at, I see Bain going to Kansas City. I don't see Kansas City trading out of that spot if Bain's there. That would be my worry. I understand exactly. Like, to me, if I'm Tampa, David, and I'm focused on what you're focused on, and I don't think you're wrong. To me, the team I'm looking at, if you can get there, is Miami. Because I just don't know if you can get to Kansas City or if you can get to, Cincinnati. David, you would know this better than I do. They do a lot of trading in the draft. They're usually a team that stands pat. So, Dallas could go edge. Dallas needs to get defensive guys. They could go D-back. So if I'm Miami, if you're Miami, would you go from 11 to 15? Because I think that's the team you look at, David. If you're going to make that move, I'm looking to see what's going on with the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, I would. Unless your thoughts about, let's just say it's Bain. Okay, unless there's somebody on the board in which you're like, oh my goodness, we had him as like the top 5 player in the draft. We can't pass him up. I know we're rebuilding and all, but that's a stud. We think that's a great player. Can we really pass up on a great player just to get an extra 3rd round pick? So unless there's one of those on their board, yeah, if I'm Miami, damn right I'm trading from 11 to 15. Can I just throw this out there about Sadiq? Something to pay attention to in the next 13 days. The Ravens worked out David Njoku this week. If they sign Njoku, are they really going to draft Sadiq? I mean, that's Mark Andrews and Njoku. You really going to bring in a 3rd tight end?
And use your 1st round pick for it. Because, David, while Sadiq's obviously the class of that group, there are a lot of NFL people out there, and I know you've read it too, that think that you can get a quality tight end in the 2nd and 3rd round. There's only one 1st round guy. But on day 2, people think there's a solid tight end. And that's why, look, I would love Houston to go get him. I like the match. I think the cost is far too high when you have other picks and could get a quality tight end on Friday.
So that to me is something to pay attention to. If the Ravens in the next 12, 13 days actually put a contract in Njoku, maybe the Ravens are going to try to hold off for 13, 14 days and see if they can get Sadiq at 14. If so, bye-bye David Njoku. Or Or are they going to just bite the bullet, sign Njoku, at which point you got to look for another home for Sadiq in your mock draft?
By the way, you were right as quickly on the Masters. I just read my thing wrong. Just had a moment of dyslexia there. Wyndham Clark is the one that's going early. He's made 3 birdies early, so that hot girlfriend at the par 3 contest really paying off for Clark.
Well, I mean, it didn't pay immediate dividends for Hovland, though. Okay.
No, it did not.
It's not a surefire thing, but yes. Okay.
But, maybe it's a Friday thing. Hovland yet to tee off. So we'll see if, the announcement on Wednesday just pays off 2 days later, not the next day.
Right. But Wyndham Clark, really the only guy on the course in the first hour and 40 minutes of tee times who's doing anything. We think he's the only red numbers on the course, but he just went birdie, 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 2, 3, 4, and he shot an even par 72 yesterday. So morning tee time, he could post something and he could be teeing off really late tomorrow. If he can hold serve from here. I mean, because remember, Scheffler, Eagles 2, birdies 3. He's got 15 holes left. I think he made 14 pars and a bogey yesterday, but that was playing in the afternoon. He's got a morning.
By the way, the early leader until McIlroy tied him was Sam Burns. Good player, really good player. Shot 5 under. He played early. 71.5, 72.5. Where are you going?
Oh, on Sam Burns?
Yeah. He's off at 12:32. He's got to wait around damn near all day after being the first round leader at Augusta.
Over. I think he'll post an over par round. And the good thing for him is even if it's 73 or 74, he's probably going to be right there.
Absolutely. No doubt. No doubt. I think he'd sign up for 73 right now, for the record. I really do. I could be crazy, but I think he'd sign up right now.
So, usually, as we all know, it gets a little windier as the day goes on. And so that was the case yesterday. The wind was, laid down just a touch until the afternoon. And then it, as Peter Allis once said, it freshened a bit. The wind was freshening yesterday in the afternoon. Boy, was it ever. Especially from about 4 to 7. Man.
Well, like Mark Lai pointed out, that shot, Woodland thought he stiffed that iron on 15. He's staring it down.
Yep.
He misses by 2 yards, 3 yards, because it just carried the green, but it hit the hill, the crown of the back of the green, and as soon as it hit, I'm like, don't go in the water. And I thought it was in, and it stopped about a foot short of the pond on 16.
But yeah, I think he thought he was landing pin high and it was going to stay on the back of the green and he was going to have an easy 2-putt for birdie. Because when that ball went over the green, and he doesn't know if it's gone into the pond on 16 or not, he just knows it's over the green. He looked at his caddy with an incredulous look, and he actually kind of tossed his club gently up into the air like, wait, what? That went over? But, then again, and you've been there, you're elevated and the wind and you're judging it, and it's a 210-yard shot. It doesn't have to alter it much,
In that water, the pond on 6, I will say that, one of the things about the length of these guys now, they hit the ball so high and they're hitting irons into 15 most of the time, if they're in the fairway. Whereas a generation ago, that was a 4-wood. And it's not stop, it's got to land perfectly damn near on the green to stop on the green. The water on 16, to me, came in play a lot more, in the 80s, if you will, than obviously it does now, just because of the way they hit the damn golf ball. But I thought Mark Lai made a great point that it's the hardest third shot on the course if you have to lay up a downhill shot into a green that there is not a lot of room on.
Listen, I don't know what you thought the first time you saw it in person, but when I looked at the second shot, you're like in the 200 to 230 range, and you're like, wow, look at that oval shaped green. There is not a lot of surface. I'm hitting what into that? I got to hold that green. I got to make sure I don't come up just a sliv short. Wow, this shot is scary.
And you think of all the incredible shots
Yep.
that we've seen on that hole. Miller and Moulton, the Pro Hour. At least that's what I call it. Thanks for listening.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Well, JDR, some of those guys, though, are really good golfers. The scores as a way of humbling you.
And by the way, I mean, that 2 is a par 5. So even the bad golfers make a lot of them make a birdie early. That's all.
And 3's a birdie hole.
Right.
That's short.
1 and 4 are a
so,
son of a gun.
Right. So that's why we brought it up. Usually you see even or red numbers early.
By the way, as you figured out, if I mute you, you can take yourself off. If you mute you, I can't take you off.
Yeah. Well, I never mute myself, except that time yesterday in the 9 o'clock hour, in which I have no idea how that happened. I have a notebook in front of me, and every now and then the notebook slides up and is touching the keyboard, and I'm wondering if the arrow was near mute thing and the notebook touched something. I don't know. Because when you looked at me like, your mic's off, I looked at it like, what the? Well, thank you, Mark. Thanks for everybody who listens. We're very appreciative. No, JDR, that's true. Most of the guys who teed off this morning were over par yesterday. Did you see the stat of the day yesterday at the Masters?
No.
The live golfers beat the Champions Tour by a shot. Now there's a few more live guys, 10, than there are Champions Tour guys, but it was like 62 to 63 over par, something like that. They like won by a shot. Something like that.
The who? The what? The where? Sorry, he's talking about the Leafs. I'm just.
I know.
You know my disdain for that franchise.
Well, but also, really NHL draft talk.
Put it this way, Canada Relief. You may cause me to wear a Canadiens jersey on this show.
Don't worry, Canada Relief. That's not going to happen.
No, it's not. It's a great logo, though. It's a great sweater.
I did not hear the comments, JDR.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. All coming up. It's the final weekend of the NBA regular season. It ends Sunday, and there are no games tomorrow. So I think like damn near the whole league's in action today. I think the whole league plays today and the whole league plays Sunday. There's just playoff positioning to play for. I mean, the 20 teams that are going to be in the play-in and the playoffs have been determined weeks ago, but just kind of a footnote. Oh, by the way, tonight and Sunday. And then play-ins early to mid part of the week next week. And I think it's either Friday or maybe Saturday by next weekend that the first round gets underway. But, I asked you the question earlier this week if you think this is the last week for Ovechkin. And you said, yeah, I do.
In America.
Right.
Or in North America, I should say.
Right. You think he'll play a little KHL and then.
Oh, yeah.
If Russia's in the 20, 30 games, we think he'll even have a role on that team.
Maybe. That's more you than me, but I think there's a possibility.
How about this? Since don't we wait another year, but then we have 4 nations? Okay, what if they put Russia back in 4 nations in like 28? I'll bet you he plays.
I do. I think he'd play on that team.
But let me ask you, gut feeling. You think this is the last for LeBron James? Just gut feeling. 41 years old.
If it's not, I have no problem with it. mean, I know he's not playing as many games and he's doing the load management thing, which he didn't do a lot of in his career. You
No.
can't throw that at
No.
him the way you throw it at others.
No.
And I know he's one of the more polarizing players out there for a lot of reasons. He says a lot of dumb things, seemingly all the damn time. And he tries to act like he's the smartest guy in the room when he clearly isn't on things. But the numbers he's putting up right now, he can still play.
Oh, well,
if he
there's no
plays
doubt.
another year, I've got no problem with it. So I think he plays one more year.
He's been very relaxed the last 10 days with the media. You know, usually he has his guard up a little bit. He's said some things in the last 10 days, like he's had no problem letting the world know. Yeah, I don't like playing in Memphis. I don't like playing in Milwaukee. Okay.
And Cleveland was the
And
other one.
right. And he said, and I got to be honest, you know, I love it. I'm from there, but you know, Cleveland ain't fun for me either these days.
And boy, Memphis did not take that well. And I don't think he's wrong.
Well, first off, he ain't the only one. That's what came out of that. When LeBron said it, it was as if a lot of then players in the NBA go, well, oh, good. Now I can say it too. I mean, we're finding out that apparently Memphis is like one of the least popular places the players want to play, for whatever that's worth. But I just a gut feeling. I'll say this. LeBron has said he doesn't want a goodbye tour. I don't necessarily believe him because LeBron loves himself some LeBron. But Ovechkin is on the record as saying, I want no part of a goodbye tour. His contract's up after this season. And you got to figure they're not going to offer him a multi-year deal. So if he comes back for one more year, then we have to assume that's a goodbye tour.
Well, yes. And first off, if Washington doesn't offer him, would he get offered somewhere else for a year? One. Two, you know, I don't know how much of a discount a guy like Ovechkin would want to take. But lastly, you know, one of the guys he played with early in his career, didn't he play? He played with Fedorov at the end when they were in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
And Sergei Fedorov just finally got his jersey retired in Detroit. And on stage admitted, I should have never left. And it was a two-way street there. Detroit screwed that up. They did. But I wonder if a guy like Fedorov said, don't go play for someone. If they don't sign you, you can't go play for anyone else. Don't do it. I know Gretzky did it. I know others have done it. But would he go play, you know, somewhere for 1 year?
What jersey could he wear? It's him and Crosby, because obviously they came into the league together. They're two legends. They're iconic players. I mean, we're talking about two of the 20 best players of all time. Is there a jersey that either one of them could wear that we as fans would look at one another and go, man, that just looks bad?
Well, you know, Sid's basically said, I'm not playing anywhere else.
Right.
I mean, because he's been, they basically gave him the opportunity when they were trying to rebuild and said, do you want to? No, it's no part of it.
No, I'm
no
done.
part of it.
Right. It's the only franchise I'm playing for. And there's, you know, what's Ovechkin at this point? He's a power play guy. He's got 31 goals this year. It's not that he can't score even strength, but for the most part, you're putting Ovechkin out there, you know, the 10,
he's a third or fourth. He's a bottom six guy that plays on your top power play unit. That's what he is.
Right. And, you know, what? Because you got to figure he's not just going to go to a team to play. You know, what really good team, you know, would bring him in as a hired gun?
Well, is it really good team? Like, look at Detroit could use a guy like that on their bottom six. If he played on their power play, would they be a playoff team this year?
They would, but I don't know if they're a really good team.
No, I don't know if a really good team would take him. I don't. That's I'm like, I don't know if Florida would. I don't know, you know, because Florida's going to be back to being really good next year. Well, you know, the injuries, the draft pick, Barkov. Don't kid yourself. Florida's back in the play. I'd be stunned if the Panthers aren't a playoff team a year from now.
But think about a year ago. okay, a little over a year ago, it's 13 months ago, we couldn't envision Marchand wearing a different jersey. And then he fit in like hand in glove in Florida and signed a 3-year extension. But it was a veteran team. I'm trying to think, where's the veteran place he could go with a couple of Russians, all right, where he could just go and play?
Viva Las Vegas.
That seems to be the answer to every one of these NHL questions.
Viva Las Vegas.
Uh,
Telling you, that might be the spot right there.
I was going to say, I don't think the Lightning need him, but boy, kind of
I don't know.
perfect.
I mean, that makes Vegas better. I don't know how much better it makes Tampa. That's all I'm saying.
But that's just what I'm wondering. Here we are. We got 3 days left in the NBA regular season. Obviously, LeBron and the Lakers are going to make the playoffs, but without Luka, we don't know if they're going to stick around very long. Don't know if they make it to May. And this could be the final. The NHL regular season ends, I think, Tuesday, Wednesday next week.
Right.
But
I believe
if
it's
you get
Wednesday.
If you get a chance, okay, I think the Caps have like 3 games left, and I think one of them this weekend's televised. You may just want to sample it. Could be the last time for number 8.
Yeah, Saturday and Sunday they play in the afternoon, both games against the Penguins. They love to put the Caps versus the Penguins on television. They do.
Yeah, one of those two's on ABC, I think. So sample it if you can.
Yeah, Saturday ABC, Sunday TNT. They're both on that national television. I mean,
There you go.
it's Crosby and it's Ovechkin. I get it.
Exactly.
Not like you're going to put Buffalo or Montreal on this time of year.
No, they got to wait another week and a half for that when they have no choice.
So the Masters underway, last weekend of the regular season in basketball, where all the playoff spots are basically determined. I mean, there's a little bit 3, 4, 5 in the NBA on the West between Denver, LA, and Houston still up for grabs. A couple of spots at the bottom end of the Eastern Conference. I guess even the top. What's going to happen between Cleveland and the Knicks? They're a game apart. So some things to be settled for playoff seeding in the NBA. Playoff spots still available in the NHL. And, of course, round 2 of the Masters is underway. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was a day when. What's on tap? That's next. Miller and Moulton.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape. The Floor Mice doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof, your first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
was going to break all the rules and go watch my daughter's final gymnastics meet today. She's in Gainesville for the state finals. I thought it was going to be tomorrow, but of course it's Friday and it started at 8 a.m.
Well, and the problem is by the time you get there, it'll be noon.
Oh no, she's going to be done by she's already halfway through. So I won't even make it. Like she came up yesterday on the way, we had lunch. And then she's going to stop there. They're going to spend the night tonight because she's going to watch a couple of her friends compete and, just get another hotel room night because that's what we need.
Points, right? Think of it as points.
Right. The points.
Right.
The points.
The points.
And mother-in-law's there too. So I got to pick up lunch for 5 yesterday.
Oh, good.
And we're having brunch on Saturday. And somehow I don't think the mother-in-law is going to her hip. She hated it, Deadstroke. She hated every part of the mustache. She looked at me and she goes, I thought you were going to shave your beard. I said, I did shave my beard. I left the mustache. Just for you, honey. And then I gave her a big kiss on the cheek. My son has a beard and she just hates every part of it and just gives it to him. And right now I don't like him very much because he's still asleep. It's 9:30 and he can still sleep. I do think he made the end of the Michigan-Denver game.
Okay. Did he get you your bagel and then go
I
back?
can't eat. I got the thing today. I can't eat.
Oh, that's right. Oh,
I told him he had Friday off.
Oh, yeah. No reason for him to. Oh, yeah.
He may sleep till noon then.
Yeah, really.
I probably shouldn't say this even on Twitch, but I texted my buddies about, I go for my walk every day on campus. And I joked with them. I said, I'd like to think that if yoga pants were in style when I was in college, I would have gone to class more, but I really don't think it would have made much of a difference. I do say, obviously at Michigan State, the weather's cold. And I don't remember, I got to ask buddies, I don't remember. Now, in the summer, I remember wearing shorts to class when I did the summer semester. And maybe at the end of spring semester, we wore shorts. But I don't remember wearing a lot of shorts to class. And obviously, in Florida and with the times, and obviously people dress very differently. But it is amazing the clothes that young people, and I don't care. This is an old guy on the porch. Good for you. I'm amazed at what people wear and basically how people wear clothes who I would have to have a much better physique to be comfortable in what they're wearing. I get when you got the perfect physique and you're wearing a tight shirt. I also look at, some of and it's not just young people that ride bikes. You bikers out there, those of you that ride your 10 speeds on the road. What is it, Lycra? Is that the fabric? Is that what it's called? The biker crap, basically the spandex. The men that are comfortable in the biker ensemble, and I don't mean motorcycle bike, I'm talking about the 10 speed. The men in their 30s, 40s, and 50s that think it's okay to wear what they're wearing. Are you kidding me? And they do it in very bright and vibrant colors. You want to go all black with it? Okay, that's bad, but not as bad as all of a sudden I've got pink, yellow, and purple on.
Yeah, I don't need those in pastel.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Home stretch, final segment of the show and of the week. Miller and Moulton, MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. None of them have teed off yet, so feel free to vote in our poll question. Both Rahm and Bryson blew up yesterday. They both would have missed the cut if there was one after the first round. Fortunately for them, there's one after the second round. Will they make the cut? Yes, no, or, well, I think this guy will. No, I think this guy will. Vote accordingly. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, and you can vote for a little while longer on our Twitch and YouTube broadcasts.
Bryson leading the way in the poll question. Neither next, then both, then Rahm, for what it's worth. That's how the vote's breaking down. If you're not on our YouTube or Twitch, you're in Tampa or Jacksonville, you can do it on X, that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton. You can always text the show, Pelican Roofing of Florida text line, 21,000 is the number.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
You know, David, sometimes you hold on to something and you get maximum value for it. Other times you may sell too quickly. Walter Hunt patented the safety pin today in 1849. He sold the rights for $400. I think he sold too early.
Yeah, I don't care even if you sold it in 1850, and I'm sure that was a lot of money then, but no. The problem is, how long would he have had to hold on to those rights?
I don't know.
And not just him, but, you know, those in the family that followed. I mean, do you have to hold on to those rights for 100 years? I mean, do we have to get past World War II before you start really cashing in on that?
Maybe just the Civil War. 1849. I mean, you know, another 20 years, he could have had generations set up, but he got $400. MIT in Cambridge was founded today in 1861. The PGA was founded today in 1916 in New York City. F. Scott Fitzgerald published The Great Gatsby today in 1925. Why are you saying F. Scott Fitzgerald? What did he do to you? Sorry, a little Ted there for you. Today in 34, the Blackhawks win their first Stanley Cup, doing it in double overtime to beat the Wings in 4 games. They played best of 5 back then. Jackie Robinson becomes the first African-American to sign an MLB contract. He did so today in 1947. Sam Snead wins the first of 3 Green Jackets today in 49. Arnie goes birdie to win by 1 over Ken Venturi today in 1960.
There have been 3 amateurs in the last 65 years who have finished second. That's probably the most famous of the second place finishes.
Palmer won in 60. Well, he lost by 1 in 61 to the first international champion, Gary Player, beating Palmer and amateur Charles Coe by 1 to win the 61 Masters.
I believe Arnie doubled 18 with a 1-shot lead. Coe had a 20-footer for birdie to force a playoff.
Today in 62, the Dodgers played their first game at Chavez Ravine, 52,000 plus. Watched them lose to Cincinnati. It was today in 70 that we basically got the official word that the Beatles were done, because McCartney put out publicity materials promoting his first solo album, indicating that he's done with the Beatles. Frampton Comes Alive, one of the big live albums of all time. Hit number 1 today in 1976. Today in 77, Watson wins the first of his 2 Green Jackets, beating Jack by 2. Fun little factoid. Today in 79, J.R. Richard pitched a complete game for the Houston Astros. He would beat the Dodgers 2-1. But the key is he set a record. He threw 6 wild pitches while throwing a complete game. Man, he threw hard. Madonna began the Virgin Tour today at 85, a little-known white rap act opening up for the Beastie Boys. They get booed throughout the set, and moms across the country were shocked and appalled that Madonna had the Beasties opening They may have had 2 strippers on poles during the show in scantily clad outfits, and I believe had a big inflatable penis that came on stage at one point of the show as well. 94, Jose Maria Olazabal. He played well yesterday until the end. He would win today in 94. Tiger wins his 4th in 05. This is just for David. It was in 2011 at the 75th Masters. Charles Schwartzel birdies the final 4 holes to win the 75th Masters, because I read it somewhere. Charles Schwartzel will not win the Masters.
See, this is dangerous. If any of you are going to go into the media and you're going to write columns, when you're trying to be flippant, sarcastic, some would even say pithy, it can really come back and bite you. So like, if say you're going to write a column for the 100th Masters, don't pick the guy with the funniest sounding name thinking, well, he can't win because, well, it's the 100th Masters. It has to be someone regal. You know, like Arnie won the 25th Masters, or no, Gary Player won the 25th Masters and Jack won the 50th. So someone regal was going to win the 75th Masters. And some Yahoo named David Moulton wrote, so the one thing you can count on is Charles Schwartzel is not going to win this Masters.
And Scotty Scheffler won his first major today in 2022. Harry Morgan, Colonel Potter, Omar Sharif, John Madden, and Andy Don Meredith would have all celebrated birthdays today. Mel Blount, 78, and he might still hit you if you came across the middle. Ken Griffey Sr., 76. Bowler Mark Roth. If you are of a certain age, you saw him on ABC throughout the 70s. He and Steven Seagal are both 75 years old today. Brian Setzer, 67. Denny Viel, hockey tough guy, and apparently had a head you couldn't cut by many players that I know that fought Denny Viel. And rapper Q-Tip, he's 56. What did I miss, David?
Well, before I throw 2 things out there. So if I remember, ABC used to do the bowling and it'd be the final 5. So who were Mark Roth, Earl Anthony, Johnny Petraglia, Marshall Holman, okay? And do we want to put the broadcaster in there? Because they made a big deal every time Nelson Burton Jr., okay, had to leave his broadcasting gig because he was bowling. So there you go, Mark. It's my Mark Roth. I will say one time they hadn't had a 300 game bowled on ABC in a few years, and Roth took it to the 10th, all right, and went strike, and like a solid 4-pin. Boom. For a $299. And they had, back then you got like 25,000 extra if you threw a 300 on ABC, which was more than what you got for winning the damn event.
I watched, why I put Mark Roth in there, David, I remember watching that with my dad because I didn't bowl and he did when he was younger. And, I thought the hole-in-one was the thing you had to get. And that was my dad going, do you have any idea how much harder this is than a hole-in-one? Do you know how difficult it is to roll? I mean, and he was going off on Mark Roth, and he liked him better than some of the other guys for whatever reason, because that's the stuff we watched on weekends. Remember, I'm in Michigan. It's cold. You in 3 channels. You were watching ABC and bowling. We did. Don't ask me why.
You watched bowling, which led into the bad theme music and Vin Scully doing golf on the West Coast during the winter. ASPCA founded today back in 1866. And since we talked a lot of Masters, Lee Elder, first black golfer to play in the Masters, happened today in 75.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Missing cats in Texas that were found after 5 years. Texas cat was gone for 5 years, or in the cat's words, it was out for a stroll. But the feline was brought to a facility in late March, scanned for a microchip, and a couple in Williamson County, Texas, was reunited with their cat. The person from the shelter said they've been doing it since 2013, and they've never seen a reunion after 5 years. For the bad, let's go to Maryland, where An Audi was found on the side of the road and towed away by authorities. Apparently the car, now they didn't get the owners, which makes no sense to me. I would have waited for the owners. I guess they'll get them if they want the car back. But the car had racked up $260,000 in unpaid tickets. They say they get cars every day in this situation, but because of the amount of money, they publicized this one. Good luck. Do you go get the car back if you owe 260, or do you just go buy another car?
I go buy a bunch of other cars.
Thank you.
Goodness. I go buy a house and a car.
For the ugly, we go to Pasco County here in Florida, where 37-year-old William Young is a jerk. And he obviously can scam people. He scammed 67 people under the promise of building a youth hockey league and paying the rink. He was able to get over $260,000 out of them that he used to gamble with. He made a mortgage payment, paid his credit card bills, and gambled the rest away, never starting the league. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, April the 10th. Brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department. Looking for a job? Want to be a cop? Want to get paid a lot? Want to work in Cape Coral? $10,000 signing bonus. You can make up to $100,000. For all information on the job, where do they go, David?
CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. So there's no hockey tonight. None.
Okay.
I have no idea what you and Jake are going to do. I guess you're going to have to watch your Tigers, who have lost 37 in a row, okay, take on the Marlins. I mean, by the way, we all knew that when the Marlins and the Tigers got together this third weekend of the season, that one team would be 8-5 and in first, and the other would be 4-9 with the worst record in baseball.
Right.
And that the
Right.
first place team is the Marlins, and the Tigers can't suck enough right now. But we'll get to baseball in a moment. No hockey, for what it's worth. The entire league seemingly in action this weekend. And you want hockey Saturday and Sunday, they are playing it at all hours. Also, the Frozen Four, Wisconsin and Denver, 5:30 Saturday on the Four-Letter Network. NBA, whole league in action today. Nobody playing tomorrow, whole league in action Sunday. Miami's at Washington, Orlando's at Chicago. Got to wonder if this is the last weekend for Billy Donovan with the Bulls. Is he going to regret not taking that North Carolina job? They fired the two guys above him.
You know, you have to respect his integrity. I'm not doing anything till the season's over, but you have to question his business acumen, if you know what I mean, because he could have had the North Carolina job. He could have had it, and they're paying big money.
8.5.
Right.
I
getting
know.
the same money Hurley's getting in Connecticut.
So Orlando at Chicago. Knicks are hosting the Raptors. I think they've beaten Toronto 11 in a row. It's a big game for seeding. Toronto's tied with Atlanta for the 5. The Knicks have a 1-game lead for the 3. Speaking of Atlanta, they're hosting Cleveland, so it's a big game for seeding for both. And that's the first game of the Amazon doubleheader. If you're into hoop, Cavs, Hawks, followed by T-Wolves, Rockets. T-Wolves had nothing to play for. Houston tied with the Lakers for the 4. They're probably going to play each other in the first round, but in theory, one of them is going to have home court, and the other obviously will not. Baseball, everybody's playing. I mean, no reason to have off on a Friday. Mentioned the Marlins in Detroit. Rays hosting the Yankees. I got to tell you, Mark, the league has done the Rays a solid. For the new owners, think about their first 2 series at home. Cubs, Yankees. Not going to have a single bad attempt. Their first 6 gates are all going to be good. Thank you, MLB. Next week's the vote, by the way, in the Hillsborough County. Kind of a BFD. For what it's worth, Cleveland and Atlanta have a 3-game series, and they're both 8-5. Probably the best series in terms of how good each team is on the board.
Next best one is Pirates and Cubs, David.
Yeah.
That
Skeens,
division's off to a great start.
yeah, and Skeens pitches this weekend.
How about
So
Skeens saying that Connor Griffith there, the face of the franchise.
and everybody in Pittsburgh said, "Does that mean you're leaving? You have 4 years left before free agency. It sounds like you're leaving tomorrow. Please stay. At least till the kid's old enough to drink."
Enjoy the Masters. Coverage begins momentarily, I think, on Prime and Plus. 1 o'clock on Prime for full coverage, 3 o'clock on ESPN. Have a great weekend. Miller.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
The
sound.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
NBA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Raj, have a great weekend, my man.
You